Welcome back to an Omnia Pratus. I am Jay, here with my co-host Angela, and the inspiration for what might be my favorite podcast we've ever done, Olivia, Angela's little, the vegan, our rave slash X-rave slash festival friend.
It's good to be back.
And most importantly, our introduction to One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill is right in the niche of like shows that I would have watched slash like should have watched during my like childhood adolescent years because it ran from 2003 to 2012, which would have made me anywhere from the ages of 8 to 15, I think. 8 to 16.
2012. I graduated in 2012, so you would have been a junior.
I was 15 turned 16 my junior year.
Okay. Just checking. Because I think the other day you said that like you were in middle school when One Tree Hill ended.
That was something else because no, you said you were like a freshman in high school, and I was like, yeah, I was in middle school. You and I would have not been at the same school at that exact moment.
Correct. Fair. I'll give you that one.
Looking into this is coming out in August, rather than do another sorority series, which by the way, I don't know if you guys have heard this on TikTok, but there will be no Bama Rush Talk season 2, 3, whatever, because the
Yep.
schools are cracking down on PNMs doing outfits of the day because Alabama had to have like security on campus. Creepy men were going to the houses. Like it was a huge deal. So no more Bama Rush Talk and probably no more Rush Talk anywhere to that
Which is really
extent.
sad. The creepy men just ruined it.
They ruin everything,
I know.
including this show.
They're the Dan Scotts of the world.
Oh no, I'm talking about the creator of the show, but that too.
Oh.
But yes. So wanting to do some kind of homage to back to school. It's kind of like a throwback to our school years, even though Olivia is a bit of a fetus. Like she watched the show when it was on originally, which I don't know how for like not having a TV and not have, or maybe she did have a TV, but for like kind of her like reserve, I don't know, like her reserved upbringing, like One Tree Hill just like doesn't feel like it would fit in with that.
It's the rebellion.
Okay. I see that. I also think she's frozen, which like
I
I'm
think
not
so
sure.
too.
So I'm just gonna keep talking until like it comes back. Basically, wanting to do a throwback sorts of month, Angela and I were trying to figure out a show. We were gonna do Glee, but like I got inspired to do Glee, and now with all the Funny Girl on Broadway drama, it's like, let's not touch that. So then I was like, One Tree Hill. I was like, why does One Tree Hill sound familiar? And Angela like hadn't watched it, but she was like familiar with it because you said your cousin watched it.
Yes. So she definitely was on One Tree Hill. She watched Gilmore Girls and like because they were both on the WB together, they like I think they aired back to back. Gilmore Girls was 8 and One Tree Hill was 9. So I was allowed to watch Gilmore Girls, but usually probably about 10 minutes into One Tree Hill, I was sent up to bed.
One Tree Hill was on after.
Mhm.
I always imagine One Tree Hill on like before because I remember like watching oh, maybe I don't know. I feel like it came on before because like I'd watch Gossip Girl at 9 or I would watch something else after. I do know though I saw some of the previews where they were talking about 902 and 008, so maybe it was on at 9. I don't know. It might have pulled a Grey's thing where like it would flip depending on like what show is more popular because I also know with Grey's like the 9 p.m. slot they can do like dirtier things.
Yeah. No, I think that's why because I asked her about this at family barbecue and like we were reminiscing a little bit, and at least in 2003 when it first aired it was in the 9 o'clock spot because remember seeing it for the first time after Gilmore Girls Keg Max.
Do you remember any context of what episode or what was going on in the show at the time?
No, I don't. All I remember is that like I was sitting there like really quietly because it was like 9 o'clock. That was also like my third grade bedtime, and hoping that no one would notice so that I could keep watching. And then about like 5 minutes in, someone was like, Angela's still here. And then I got sent off to bed.
Oh. Olivia, what was your first experience with the show when you were a wee little one?
Well, I actually didn't start watching this show until I was a sophomore in high school, and my friends who I was in chemistry class with actually told me to watch it. And they would like ask me where I was to see what spoilers they could kind of, say. and what parts I was at just to make sure they weren't going to give too much
Mhm.
away, but that's definitely what got me into watching the show. And I got my whole family to watch with me, so it was my mom and my brother. We'd all watch together, and after a while, like, I was really the only one who kept watching it, but it's a good show.
So, like, I know that people say, and like listening to the podcast of the three lead women on the show, and just like hearing shows like this niche of like teen drama was supposed to be like the show your family would always watch together. It was like a family kind of concept thing. And granted, I don't know, I have a single mom, so like that doesn't, but like I just can't imagine, like, I watched all of these shows alone or like with my friends. Like, I don't know anyone who sat down and was like, family, let's watch Gossip Girl together. Or like One Tree Hill, I understand is like much like more vanilla compared to Gossip Girl, but just the whole like CW genre, like WB, but like before they merged with UPN, like was supposed to be this thing of like, I don't know, Angela, did you and your mom watch like Veronica Mars together? Like, it's just like the idea of like this being a family thing like doesn't appeal to me.
Oh no, absolutely not. I totally watched Veronica Mars on my own. Like Supernatural was also, I think, originally like started WB and then became CW.
Mhm,
Watched that on my own. Like I couldn't imagine watching that like with my parents together. Like sometimes my dad would watch with me,
mhm.
but my dad also like didn't really pay a ton of attention. Like he would like be doing work or like on his phone or computer or whatever. So I don't know. It's definitely a weird concept because I don't think like even One Tree Hill by today's standards, like in comparison to other things, totally tame. But for what it was back then, totally scandalous. I would not have wanted to watch that with my family.
So me, as this is mostly because I really wanted to talk about this and it's going to be extra long and video because, you know, I want it to be. I didn't watch until June 1st, 2022. Yeah, that's the year we're in. I don't know. Multiverse, whatever. I don't know what it is anymore. So I started it on June 1st, right before I went down to LA. And very proudly and in my obsessive compulsive nature, as Taylor Tomlin would say, I have obsessive compulsive tendencies. Watch the entire show, all 9 seasons, 187 episodes in 2 weeks. I did see that if you did stay up straight and watch it, it would be done in a week. And granted, I skipped over some of the boring things, and not that like, here's the thing, like for the third time of a couple breaking up and getting back together, or one of the boys having to profess their love in the rain because they've like fucked up, you kind of get the point. It's a teen drama. This isn't like we're saving world hunger. But it was entertaining and it got more entertaining. And I was like, my entire text chain with Olivia for these 2 weeks was just me like taking and sending her all of my notes and all of my feelings and thoughts. And I told her, I'm like, if I have anything important to say, I'm just going to FaceTime you because, like, otherwise it would break the chain of all of my text messages, which I did screen record and took up a whole 2 minutes of me scrolling at like an average speed to get through them. But yes. And
There was a lot of messages, and I have to say reading them throughout the day was great because you would be on season 3 at one point, and then it was the finale, and then all these things are happening, and you're reminding me of things I forgot about, and it made it more exciting for me as
Mhm.
well.
And then since finishing the series, I have then gone back and watched essentially the whole series a second time. But the first 3 seasons, and the thing that really appealed to me about why I wanted to watch the show is because the three lead women have a podcast where they're rewatching it. And for those of you who don't know or haven't spoken to me the last month, because if you have, this is all I've been talking about. Sophia Bush, also known from Chicago PD, John Tucker Must Die, I'm sure other things, but those are my points. And who just got married in Tulsa, Oklahoma in a beautiful Monique Lhuillier dress. Hillary Burton, also known as the vein of my existence on Grey's Anatomy, and like, and then Joy Lenz, who was also on Grey's Anatomy, and with unfortunately Matthew Morrison from Glee, who was abusing her at the time. But like, those were only my two references for the other actresses. I don't know if you guys had known the other two other than Sophia Bush very much or seen their work since One Tree Hill.
I have not, not really.
Not really. Definitely out of all of the core cast, Sophia Bush has had the most flourishing career.
Mhm. As me not wanting to just talk at my friends for 2 hours, because, you know, personal growth, personal development, and Olivia and I are having some fun beverages as the women do on their podcast.
Yes, I felt like we had to in honor
Yes.
of them.
Angela, have you heard the theme song to their podcast?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I'm going to play you the theme song really quickly because the greatest thing is, I don't know. Oh, no. Well, we can just make this one come out after Outside Lands. I wanted to recreate their podcast cover photo that's really cute. And so
Okay.
I text Olivia like a screenshot, like, hey, I want to recreate this photo. Like, who do you want to be? Because I had a feeling, Angela, I know like which one you'd want to be, but like I wasn't sure if you would go by character because like the one who I thought Olivia would want to be, you would want to be the other one because one of them has their chin up, and I know you have like feelings about that. But like I wasn't sure if we could like wash it out. But anyway, I sent her this text, and then Olivia was like, "Wait, do you want to do the theme song or the photo?" And I'm
Oh my
gonna see
God.
if I can. Oh, if I no Spotify won't work. Okay, here's my phone.
I was scared. I thought you wanted us to sing it.
Well, one only Joy sings, but
Oh my God. You're going to make me sing.
no. We're doing the photo, but Olivia thought it was the song, which was the funny part. Okay, I'm gonna play the
Okay,
trailer.
okay, cool. Cool.
And this might have to get cut out, but like we'll see. At least you can get their reactions if I have to mute this in post. You can do acapella, right, Angela?
Really badly.
Don't worry,
Really, really
Olivia and I can
badly.
cover the clapping.
It's good. Oh,
And the talking. That part
Yeah,
I got. I
I
could do that.
yeah.
Sorry, it's going to be our next viral reel. Like, girl thinks she can sing on the internet.
Oh my god. Okay. So, the way I thought we could do this, I was thinking we could go season by season and following our also sorority nature, along with our sorority sister, Sophia Bush in Panalytic. Pro, con, pro per season. And like we can do as many. You basically do pros and then bad things. And you always have to end with at least one good thing. Unlike our sisters in recruitment, remember to leave one good thing for the end.
We can do that. We can
Okay.
do that.
Anything before we go sequentially, comments, questions, concerns for the team.
Slancha.
I think I'm ready.
Okay. Oh,
That's the
very
episode
good.
I'm on right now.
Yes. Okay, wait. I have one very important question, and you guys both got to season. You finished when. Also, spoiler alerts, but I don't think anyone really cares. When Peyton and Lucas leave, does Lucas ever speak to Millie? I don't
want
know
to say
why.
no.
I was thinking about this, and like I don't know what. Like I was rewatching one of the episodes. I was like, they're the only two characters who I could distinctly remember. I'm like, I don't think they've ever spoken to one another. I'm sure others haven't, but they were the ones that like stuck out in my mind like during this particular episode I was rewatching.
I could see that. Because if you think about it, when we get the introduction of Millie, like in Lucas's life, he is way too wrapped up in himself. And it's like you get a little bit of interaction between Lucas and Brooke, but not not nearly as much like to like bring Millie in, because at that point Millie was still new to Brooke's life. She was just her assistant. It wasn't until Lucas left that like they had started forming that larger bond.
But Millie was dating Mouth.
Yeah, Lucas kind of dropped a lot of things.
Okay, we're gonna start with season 1 now. Pro about season 1. I like the parents, like looking back and realizing like the parents like were actually pretty good actors, something that I learned on their podcast recording of it. Angela, you might know this because you were a screenwriter person. Did you know people whose names had the and or the with or the as at the end of the credits were actually like the more paid, like well established people? Like on Gilmore Girls, how it always said like with, oh, is his name Edward something? I'm
Edward
blanking.
Herman. Yeah.
Okay, like I didn't know that like meant they were. I thought like I just always thought they went in, like call sheet order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, generally when you get the and or with, like they have kind of like more established careers. where it's like they are kind of the ones who like they can walk in and like name their price-ish as much as you can do that in TV.
Well, I did not know that. So my first pro is I really like the parents and the adults of the series. I like the intergenerational shows. Discuss.
You like all the parents?
I like not like their characters. Like I don't think they're all good people, but like the interconnectedness of the parent storyline with their kids, but like the parents also for at least like the first bit like could kind of also stand alone. Like Dan didn't need to be with Nathan for like him to be pulling his like bullshit.
Well, that's why I think it's for families. Well, I mean, just because my mom was able to like watch that part, and then I had the part, that was more my age. And so I felt like it really was for parents as well. They could follow along and see how it unfolded.
Dan Scott is a great villain.
Is that your pro or is that continuing off my spiel on parents?
Continuing off your spiel on parents, but that's also kind of my pro.
Yeah.
Like
He is a
I
great
I was
villain.
going through and I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen a TV villain like as committed as Dan Scott.
I really liked it and like his arc throughout the entire series. And it's like God evil just doesn't die. They tried to kill him at the end of 3 season finales and like nothing was successful. But listening to when Paul Johansson was on the girls' podcasts, he was saying how to play a character like that, the way he channeled it or the way he kind of took it was like a misguided, but like an above and beyond kind of view of like his love for his children. Like, so, like, at the core of every bad thing he does, it was for how much protective and deluded it was for both of his sons, like, for both of them, which I think is really interesting. So I guess like Olivia, for like a quick little family tree of let's just go with anyone related directly in the Scott family, run us through that tree a little bit. Unless she froze again, which one of us can do too.
Okay, so we have
Is this the thing like if we don't let her talk like immediately, that like the video just keeps dropping?
I guess so.
Okay. So
Okay,
our patriarch, our
Dan
misogynist.
Scott. So in high school, Dan Scott and Karen Rowe were sweethearts. At the end of their senior year or
He
summer
and
after
hold
senior
on.
year, they've always
They
been a
were
little bit fuzzy on that timeline.
Wait, hold on.
Karen,
They were very stereotypical high school sweethearts. Prom king and queen. He was captain of the basketball team. She was captain of the cheer team at their high school.
I don't know, Karen planned on a life with him. Dan planned on his best celebrity life. End of senior year, summer before first year of college, because they're a little fuzzy on that timeline, Karen gets pregnant. Dan leaves her, takes his basketball scholarship to Duke, and then he meets Deb. He and Deb start dating, and then Deb gets pregnant 3 months after Karen gets pregnant. And so that is how we have the brothers Scott, Lucas, and Nathan. Lucas is Karen's son, Nathan is Deb's son. And they did not know that they were brothers until they were 12 years old.
And if you look at them, you think they're with the wrong mother.
Seriously.
Oh my God, I've always thought that.
They addressed that on the podcast because originally they wanted Chad Michael Murray to play Nathan, but he was over his Tristan and Austin Ames and like bad sporty douche.
I think it's funny because he turns into that guy again anyways, so if he played Nathan, then he would end up being the bad guy turned good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like no one knew like how long the show would run. So I feel like if they only got like the one season, he liked the other arc better, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. That, that's our initial. Olivia, what's your pro about season 1? What did you
Well,
like?
even though Dan plays a villain, I think he plays a really likable villain, and he does a lot of things that make him a character that you almost want to root for, but not quite, because he does save Lucas at the end with the car crash, and I think that's really out of character, but also not because he really does love his kids. He just doesn't know how to show it in a normal fatherly way. And he wants the best for them, but even if that means like tearing them down to get what he thinks is best. I do think that him saving Lucas is one of the pros in season 1.
you, like I get the thing of, like, wanting to root for him because I think, like, especially, like, since my first introduction with the show was, like, in 2022, it was like, "Oh, like, fragile white man who has been raised in a system to, like, not show his feelings and, like, only aim for external things has a lot of, like, internal issues," especially when you meet his father, Royal, and when you know his brother, Keith, like, you understand not like it's good, but like you see it a lot more. And I think especially like I don't know, back then it wouldn't have been something to talk about. Like Dan, and even with all of his bad things, would still really have been and probably was revered at the time because of what he would do, because of his success, because of the way he like quote unquote like bootstrapped himself after like knocking up two women. Like he would be the one held up. And so I think being able to see it for the first time through this one's like I had not like I don't wanna say I had empathy because like, Dan is a complete asshole and, like, takes the wrong move at every fucking turn, but I was able to not justify his flaws, but, like, have compassion as to the things he would have been forced to suppress during that time. First con. Can I go first?
Yes.
S As you
Yes.
both either reviewed my list or watched the episodes, season 1, episode 21. The episode where Yes, Angela? Would you like to comment?
No, go ahead.
It's the episode where N Haley catches Nathan's search history with adult content. I did not like the way it was handled. However, something that Angela pointed out to me at a different episode was like, in this time in society, like it could have been a lot worse than what I'm thinking it to. So basically, Haley catches Nathan with some adult films on his search history after he is waiting for her to be ready to have sex for the first time. And she like blows up at him like, how do you watch this if you love me? Like, why can't you just wait? Like, why can't you just do all of this? And I really didn't like her take on it at all. I really felt like even it was interesting, even on the podcast from the girls, I didn't love their take of like Haley put up a boundary that Nathan just like needed to like follow. And like again, maybe it's because like I'm not sure of like porn culture back in those days of why it might have been such a big deal, but like is it reasonable just to be like suffer in silence?
I almost feel like, well, I understand why he was watching. In a sense, he was trying to let her have the time until she was ready. And so I think she definitely did overreact and took it very personal, expecting that he wants those things of her instead of realizing that he was just giving her the space that she needed until she was ready. But like, still, he had to do what he had to do.
No, I mean, I think that both of those like points and like I agree with them completely. It's like they're very new mindsets. Like I think when like I was growing up and I'd get like Cosmo Girl magazine or like Teen People or things like that. They had articles running about like introductions to like pornography for women, like making it a safe, inclusive space. Um like now we have like all like different types of like porn and liter- like erotic like literature.
Literotica.
Yes. Like what like the audiobooks like things like that, like it's been like a new space that's been opened up for women. So I think that like Haley's reaction is very like 2003 16-year
Mhm.
old girl who does not have a safe space within this genre industry whatever, like it's purely like made like for the pleasure of men at like at the expense of the degradation of women. So I think like I think in that way it makes sense, but it also like I do like the way that I think it was Lucas and like another character kind of like walked it back for her and they were like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Like it's not as if like he's pushing this on you. Like he didn't leave his search history open for you to find. You looked. You found it and you kept going down that hole. Like none of this was put out like for you as in like Haley, you have 30 days to comply.
I do though have problems with the pictures of Peyton because like that's a different story.
Oh
Pictures of
yeah.
your ex.
Oh, yeah, different
Like
Oh
story
yeah.
that's like
completely.
which brings into I would say I don't know Angela's feelings, but one of Olivia's favorite character and like one of my top characters, Peyton. Olivia, tell us about her.
Peyton, I would describe her as a tortured artist. She has a huge love for art and music, and when she can't really describe her feelings verbally, she usually sketches them out. And so she has pictures all over her room and her sketch pad that she carries with her, and it's a really big part of who she is. Um, and so is music. And eventually, she takes her passion for music and turns it into a career. She owns a club and has her own label. And before that, when she's in high school, she starts Trick, where she brings in all these bands, which is a really, really cool element of the show. I love that they have live music during the 2000s that come on the show and perform. And it just adds like a really unique layer to the show.
Sorry. Until Olivia got to the music part, I'm like, oh, so she just described herself, is like what I heard. Like until we got to like the working in the record part, like Olivia
Yes.
just wrote like an about me for something.
And that is why Peyton is my favorite. I do have to say we have a lot in common, and I always felt that way watching in high school. I always was drawn towards her, even though she's kind of got a chaotic, troubled
Oh yeah, you were an
life.
angsty cheerleader too.
I got
Yes, I was.
I got
Like not like shouldn't have been a cheerleader, but was a cheerleader, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't realize till I was rewatching season 3, like they make her cry in almost every single episode of season 3. And not like a I'm tearing up, but like everything she gets shot, her biological mother dies, she finds out she's adopted, she gets a stalker in the next season who comes back twice. Like that writer might have just like should have fired her season 4 if he hated her that much. Cuz like boy did he have anger with that character. And
It
Brooke.
honestly got
And then all the conflict, yeah, between her and Brooke, even. Like her best friend, then they have a falling out, then they're friends again, but it's not the same, and then they have another falling out. I just feel like, yeah, the writer was really going through it with
it
her.
was honestly really hard for me to watch anything with Peyton in season 3 because it was just so sad. And she's a great actress. Like I felt all of her sadness and everything. It got so difficult. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes I hold a little bit of like all a little bit of that sadness against Peyton's character because no, just because like it made me so sad that it was
Oh.
hard for me to watch, so I like distanced myself from Peyton.
Oh no, I like fully dove into like Peyton's like dark and angsty. I love Peyton from the beginning. And like I remember oh again, drink every time I say on their podcast. They mentioned that their show was supposed to start in like mid-year, but it got pulled because of another show, like all that Hollywood stuff. But they were still filming like only 2 to 3 episodes ahead at the beginning. And no one liked Peyton's character, which I'm not surprised for the early. I'm not surprised that like Olivia and I like her. I'm not surprised Olivia liked her back then and likes her now, and I'm not surprised I like her now. But I'm also not surprised like back then, like why she wouldn't have resonated with like the typical teen drama person. They don't explain her angstiness. She kind of comes off like as a bitch. Like, why are you a cheerleader? And like people thought she was like really mean, which is like why they took her. They said they took her so dark to like give her the redemption arc, which I frankly don't think she needed. I think she was a teenage girl whose like dad had neglected her, mother had died picking her up from school. Like she just needed like people to care about her, and like Brooke did that for a long time for her, and like she picked out like shitty men. So like I think she was like from the beginning, like I didn't need more justified than what was like given to me. I was like, I understand why like just those things before season 3 happened, like why a young girl with a lot of feelings would feel that way.
Yeah, like I think she was a very complex character that they tried to compress to like
Mhm.
because they thought that it would make it easier for people to understand. And it's like, no, if they had opened that up instead of just like I love that like she had her own refrain always saying everyone always leaves, but great, let's talk
People
about why
always
everyone
leave.
people always leave. Yeah. Like let's talk about why people are always leaving. Like let's give her time and space to really explore that. It's like she would just say people would always leave, and then they'd put her in a corner somewhere alone where no one wanted to deal with her. And it's just like they had so many opportunities to like show like real like character like compassion, and they didn't.
Well, the girls were supposed to be like minor characters to like the brothers, so they didn't really think people like I seriously think if they could have written out the three leads other than Haley, because like obviously Nathan had to date someone, because like what is a teen drama without a couple? Like they would have written out Peyton and Brooke. But like because teen dramas typically have a very female audience and like we really liked the female characters, they couldn't do it. So that's why in 3 through the end they had to expand their characters, because originally they were supposed to be like cheerleader, not like brunette cheerleader, blonde cheerleader, nerdy friend. And then when people they saw that like that's where a lot of like their fan base was like gravitating towards, they had to expand them.
But didn't they like try to write out Haley?
When she went on tour, that's what they said. Like, well, that was Joy's theory that,
Yeah.
pardon me, one of the reasons they sent her on tour was to see if they could do the show without Haley.
No, they married her. Like, she's now a core member of the cast.
They had to hold on to the ones they could. Peyton
Either of you have
leaving.
a con about season 1, or just all pros all around?
I really liked season 1. Like, I don't think I have any cons. I think my biggest pro would be that I liked how the girls built their friendship.
And on
Like,
set, sorry, continue.
oh no, just because it's like you had so much like angst and fighting between Nathan and Lucas, and like yeah, like it really like drove the drama of the show like for them in high school. But it was really nice to see like the girls like get to know each other and like actually build a friendship.
I think it's so interesting that in the show it kind of shows Peyton and Brooke getting to know each other, but then they've also been best friends from, I don't know, elementary school, or I'm not sure what age. And then there's key details that Brooke should know that she doesn't. And that kind of bothered me just because I feel like maybe in the beginning they hadn't written their characters fully. And so then there's gaps that don't
It's
really
like in
add up.
season 1 of Gilmore Girls when they completely redo Emily and Richard's house in season 2.
Or when they renamed Kirk like 3 times.
Yes.
He was in the show a lot.
But they mentioned
yeah.
that on the podcast, how one, they became fast friends off screen, and it's not surprising, but like Joy and Hillary actually became friends first because they both like did the theater scene in New York, and then like Sophia Bush like later because she was like California girl, college and stuff. So like how they quickly became friends, and like because of fragile male egos that quickly became a threat to the creator of the show. And like how literally he would like say like so and so came into my office to talk about you, so and so came in to say this, like literally pin them all against each other, which is like the most ridiculous thing ever. But yeah, the episode where like Peyton runs all the red lights and she's like, my mom's been dead for like 8 years and like Brooke knows, it's like, so like you don't think on that anniversary like maybe she would check in with her best friend whose mother died, who knows has feelings about it? Or you don't think like with the fact that both of their parents were gone their entire childhood. I just also don't understand that. They're like 16, 7, like I guess like 15 to 17-year-old kids whose like parents just like aren't there. And like at least like in Peyton's case, it sounds like it's like been that way for a while. I'm like, this girl is 16 and she just has never had like a parental figure. And I'm just like imagining me at 16 with like no like adults stabilizing me. Like
And the fact that they were basically living on their own, like completely on their own, I would have been scared to be there by myself all the time. And she'd leave
oh
the
my
front
god,
door unlocked, and people would come into her room all the time, and her music would be so loud.
that's a
Peyton
dumb
didn't
She
thing
even
even
to do
know.
though.
very
I'm
Meredith.
sorry.
Like that's, oh my
Yeah,
god,
I'm
yes,
sorry, that's
Meredith
being
just
Carey.
careless with her life.
that's like a dumb thing to do though. Like leave your door unlocked like when you're alone. Like that's not even safety. That's just like common
Oh,
sense.
absolutely.
Dude, I feel like that was like something that I heard like a lot of though from like teenage friends. They're like, "Oh yeah, I just leave the door open so people can come in when they want."
No.
Well, I mean, I definitely used to have my front door unlocked all the time, but growing up in Mount Shasta, I felt like that was everybody did that, and I would just walk into my friends'
Did you leave it
houses.
unlocked when you would
So
Okay,
but
wait,
their
did you
parents
leave it
were there.
unlocked when you were inside or outside of the house? Okay, no, like, this is a sim
Inside, but never if I was
yeah.
alone by myself
Yeah, because
inside.
Angela and I were having this conversation about something else, and I was like, because Angela's like, "Jay, you'd leave the door unlocked in our apartment all the time." I'm like, I would never leave to class and leave the door unlocked." She's like, "No, but, like, if you were inside." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I would do that." Like, if I took a shower or, like, someone was coming over, I would just, like, lock the shower door and, like, leave the front one undone, but I would never physically leave the apartment with no one inside unlocked, and I know people, like, in these, like, small towns do that, which I'm just like,
Mhm.
"Nope. Absolutely not. Absolutely not."
Yes, they do. I would go over to my friend's house at lunch. Nobody would be there, but the door would be
Oh,
unlocked so I
that's
could go
terrible. That's
inside.
terrifying. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Okay. Let's move on to season 2, which nothing really happened in season 2. Nothing that I enjoyed, nothing I don't know. I really don't like season 2. I think the two big things were teen marriage, teen marriage on the rocks. The only other big storyline to me in season 2 that matters is like Anna and her sexuality and being bisexual back in those days, I'm sure was like a big deal. But those are
She
the only
was
two
the
storylines.
first bisexual character on TV in like a teen drama.
Oh, I was like, ever? That's crazy.
I think it
I
actually
did
might
not
have
know
been
that.
ever. I have to
Oh,
I
wow.
had that pulled up because I think it was like noted on like a LGBTQ like TV representation forum.
That's crazy. Did you also know that Tim on a soap opera played one of the first like openly gay characters? Yes.
Tim.
Yeah, like I'm really happy.
Yes.
So me growing up in California, very liberal, accepting diversity, woke policing, whatever term you want to go with, like always loved and accept everyone. And I've had a pretty I don't have much information or people in my life like from southern states from more. So like, I had some preconceived notions like watching the show, like, oh yeah, like woe are you people in like small town North Carolina who have like these views. But not only like did I think the show for its time handle it really well, all of the actors I've seen post show are actually very liberal, very like activisty. Like Tim, when he stepped away from acting, like built this like video tech platform which helped like the DNC, Bevan and her husband, now rest in peace, like we're doing a lot. Like all the characters I've seen, David and Lauren, who we meet in later seasons, like posted about Biden's election and voting. Obviously, Sophia Bush, Hillary, and Joy posted a lot too. So, like for being a show set in like small town North Carolina, where like there are allusions or not illusions, where they do allude to like more some kind of like values that would reflect the era and the people a little bit. It was like not a big of like who the cast ended up being, which I was really happy with. And I think like that partially probably like reflects in the characters, even when they do play some of those more like traditional scenes. But yeah, I like the way they handled Anna's storyline a lot. I think what they had Peyton do was really good. I think that I don't know like how I mean if she was the first, I'm sure that like had a ripple effect on media and culture at the time for those watching the show.
Overall, I don't want to say like I loved season 2, but like no real complaints for me. I'm a Nathan girl, so just like Naley together. It's really nice for me. But I feel like one of the things that is like very like underrated for them is like the fact that like Nathan got emancipated, which is like how what led to their whole marriage thing. And like they
No,
were
it's
trying to
because
like
they wanted to have sex. That's why they got married. Are you kidding me?
well, what enabled them to even get married? Because like Dan and Deb weren't going to give their permission.
No, but what enabled them to get married was Haley's hippy dippy parents. Like they could have
Yeah,
gotten married if Nathan still lived at home.
well, no,
Because
but the
you
thing
need
is,
both parents for that.
they were both 16. They were both like they both needed permission to get married, but Nathan didn't because he had emancipated himself, so he could
Oh,
make
they
those
both.
decisions.
I thought they just needed one set of parents to do it.
No,
Because that's why they went to Haley's parents.
well, because she's still underage. She
Because they didn't need to
Oh.
ask.
like they needed
Yeah.
she needed permission.
But yes, they definitely did get married to have
Yeah,
sex.
I I
no,
Just
mean,
but
I'll just
I
be
saying.
clear
like
now.
I don't know. I think that their whole little thing is cute.
I know it goes very against my character, very against my brand and what people would say, like, Nathan and Haley, I literally could write them out of the show and be pretty satisfied with, like, everyone else. Like, I understand their purpose. I know, like, the dare you to move scene in the rain was very cute. I understand that, like, teen love that lasts and their trials and tribulations, but, like, frankly, to me, the best thing about Naley is that I got Jamie from it.
I would agree with that.
Oh
He
my
is the
god,
cutest.
season
This is
5
why
was
I
just full
said
of
you
Jamie.
guys should just do the podcast because I don't like anyone as much as I like Naley.
But you hate Haley.
I don't have any
Yeah.
issues with Nathan. All my issues lie with Haley. And I feel like they started her out as, I don't know, she's tutor girl, she's trying to help people succeed, doing their best, and then all of a sudden she becomes so selfish and like everything she does is for herself. But that's not how she was portrayed in the beginning. And I feel like the drastic change just really like threw me for a loop. Um,
Well, here, let
yeah,
me put it
I don't
this
know.
way. I like Nathan and I'm a Nathan girl, so whatever makes Nathan happy, I like. Because I also don't like Haley, like as a character, but
But you
yes.
like them together.
Like, they're fine,
Okay.
but, like, the thing with Haley is, like, okay, if you take out the things that happen with Jamie, so, like, Nanny Carey and, like, Dan and some other things, most of Haley's problems are of Haley's making. Like, Nathan, like, works with bad people and, like, okay, I guess Nathan's the reason Haley got run over. But, like, everyone else, like, had issues that, like, were, like, Peyton got shot. No one really could have helped the fact that, like, Peyton got shot. Haley chose to go on tour. Haley made decisions that directly impacted negative things in her life and then was like, "What happened?" It's like, "Your decisions. Your decisions are how we ended up here."
I could say the same thing for Peyton. Peyton's dad specifically asked her when her mom died, like, do you feel comfortable with me still doing this? And she was like, it really makes him happy. And my mom died, so I couldn't take away his happiness. So, of course, I let him go away for months on end and don't tell him how I actually feel and lie about things and tell him that my life is great all the time. She could have said, Dad, I'm unhappy. I miss you. I want you to be home. No, instead, she told Lucas that, and then Lucas told her dad.
Are you really blaming a girl for getting shot and getting a stalker right now?
No, I'm not talking about her getting shot and getting a stalker. I'm talking about the fact that she missed her dad and wouldn't tell him. That is a problem of her making.
I'm not saying other people don't have problems their own making. Half the show is like that these white privileged people who keep stumbling upwards in mobility, like clearly shits of their own making. But like Nathan doesn't choose to get
But
kidnapped.
remember,
Like Brooke doesn't choose to get assaulted. Peyton doesn't choose to get assaulted.
Peyton can't really tell people how she feels about them. So instead, she draws about it. And doesn't she have stuff in her room that if he looked at, he would see that she's not doing too well?
Well, like also like her mother died. Like I
Yeah.
don't like clearly the parents Larry was missing some cells up there. Yeah, no, but like Haley is just like a character where like she does things, but she sees things as happening to her and then like reacts. And Nathan,
I mean, I'm
like
not here to defend Haley.
the thing is like Nathan without Haley is even duller.
I disagree.
Okay, like let's just go. Like why Nathan?
Like, Nathan went through his whole little bad boy transformation to become the good guy, and then he, like, committed his life to trying to be a stable influence. He didn't always succeed in that, but he tried to be like as level as he could for Haley to be like the person that she needed to feel safe, and then again like for Jamie and their daughter. But like I haven't really finished that season yet, so I haven't really seen him with Lydia. Like Nathan is boring for the reason of like he has to be stable and safe because he has people who depend on him. Okay, you guys continue talking. I'll just be here.
Oh no, Olivia froze again. Are you kidding? Yeah, no, Olivia froze again. She wasn't just making faces. I was like I cognitively get like why you're Team Nathan and why like a lot of girls like every freaking like fan page on Instagram is like only Team Naley. Like I understand they have a huge fan base and I understand why. I just think like
I didn't like Lucas. I would have much preferred if he had stayed on Gilmore Girls and been Tristan DeGray, maybe gotten kicked out senior year of high school, and then come back to Yale as like Rory's freshman nemesis slash love interest.
I don't know. I liked Lucas. I don't know whether it was like the single mom thing or like I felt like he just always felt more grounded. Not like in his decisions, but like his character to me felt more grounded.
I mean, he was
Especially,
definitely like more down to earth, like in the fact that like he was raised like in a much more stable atmosphere.
yeah.
Like he was very centered and like this is real life. This is what's going on. And like I feel like that's a lot of what Nathan had to learn. But like Lucas could make some like very selfish like decisions.
Oh yeah, completely. And I think for me, like I I don't know, like I don't think I don't know. I guess the thing about like I feel like a lot of like Nathan and Haley's growth were due to like external things. And like for me, like Lucas and Peyton, it was a lot of like having to work on themselves, which I liked. Olivia, your stance on Nathan versus Lucas?
Um, that's tough. I definitely like Lucas, although I feel like I shouldn't. Just because he definitely played, I don't know, I think he played Brooke and Peyton just because he didn't know what he wanted and he was trying to go along with what he thought they wanted. And then he just always seemed to be like digging himself a deeper hole. And when he got his heart broken by Peyton, I guess for the second time, I'm not really sure how many times, he,
When he
like,
chose that his heart was broken,
you
she
know,
like she
yes,
she did not break it. Like he made a stupid decision. Like that was a stupid choice.
it was a stupid choice. And I felt like a lot of his choices were stupid. And sometimes, like, it would just be so frustrating because you think you know what they're gonna choose and then they don't. And then there's like a whole nother
But
spiral, him and Lindsay. And that was like hard to watch. Just how Peyton acted with
oh my god,
Lindsay,
yeah.
what Lindsay, how she felt about Peyton and the book. And I don't know. I just felt like Lucas wanted the best of everything, and that's not what he always got, so he would look for it
Yeah, I
somewhere
feel like
else.
Lucas had a lot of like what a lot of I don't know if like I would I guess I would call it like I guess like I would deem it like ugly duckling syndrome. Like he loved Peyton for like he's the epitome of like loner boy, nerd, quiet kid turns like to the utmost popular and competent and like aware and like when people like have that turnaround like oh I have social capital like act like feel very entitled and act out very inappropriately a lot of the times. And he went like, yeah, his whole broken pain thing, like, but I'm trying to do what they want. It's like, no, you're not. Like, you're a douche. You won't make a choice because you like all of a sudden that two girls who never would have given you the time of day and who didn't give you the time of day before you joined the basketball team now are into you.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
But yeah, so Leighton fan over here. Lucas and Payne season 6. The fact that was like all focus on them, big fan.
I mean, I'm a big fan of them too. I think he has a lot of good redeeming moments with Peyton, with the school shooting and when he sat with her and saved her and just always being there for her. And even when they weren't together and she really missed Jake, calling Jake, having him come back and telling her dad, I think he did always do what he thought, well, he tried to do what was best for Peyton, but he made a
Well,
lot of
it feels like
mistakes and
well, like
hurt a lot of people.
hearing that, it feels like when the boys like would misbehave, they were like pulling from like their father's choices. Like when like Lucas would do what he thought was best for other people or like took things a certain way, it's like it's very Dan Scott. And like when Nathan would get very like overly aggressive and overly like competitive and like when he was like in his wheelchair and like very pissy, it was like, oh, like you're turning into your father. Like it was like a very clear like patrilineal lineage issue with them. But what really pissed me off in season 3 when, like, Brooke and Lucas finally got back together, and I really liked it. I don't understand if I don't know if you 2 can agree with this. When, like, Brooke and Lucas were together in season 1, I didn't, like them, I didn't feel it, it was like, "Eh." But, like, in season 3, like, I actually felt like they came back and I got it, like, I understood it, like, I felt like they both actually cared for each other, which is ironic because in season 1 they were dating before they got married in real life. And then I learned the reason they broke up is because he cheated with Paris Hilton. What the fuck? I was
Yes,
Yep.
oh,
I
I was
know.
so annoyed when I heard that. But, like, I feel sorry that I'm now triggered. I don't remember what my point was. I'm thinking of that. Oh, yeah, when
Just how their relationship in season
yeah, like,
1
I didn't even
wasn't
feel a connect yeah, like, I didn't even,
as
like, really feel like
genuine.
they were a connection. I feel they were, "Oh, well, you're dating in real life, like, date on the show." And it was like they were awkward, and it didn't make sense, and it felt like, I didn't feel like Lucas liked Brooke at all. It was like, well, Peyton said no, so, like, cheer captain, sure. And then in season 3, like, when he was actually fighting for Brooke, I'm like, "Oh, I see this. Like, I see what you bring out each other, like, it makes sense." And so for them to then for the second, like, Brooke and Lucas, like, become official, for every fucking episode, for him to be thrown with Peyton again was like, "We get it." Like, and it was annoying because it kind of was like it didn't feel initially like it was their choice to keep getting like, it wasn't their choice to keep getting thrown together, but, like, obviously their feelings were there, and I wish they had played more, especially, like, with Chad and Hillary being such good, like, emotional actors, like, played on, like, the yearning for each other rather than, like, she gets shot, Lucas finds her. She Luke like, Peyton drunkenly stumbles into Lucas's bed. Like, it felt very forced when I feel like regardless of whether they forced it or not, like, the whole point was, like, Peyton and Luke were destiny, and they could have done that more, like, emotional pulls versus, like, let's keep physically making it so they have to be in scenes together.
I mean, like, I completely agree with you guys. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't like Brooke and Lucas the first time. It felt weird. I didn't believe it. I mean, no one believed it. What is it? Even like his mom, like when he was in the hospital and was like, "Oh, so you're dating Brooke, not Peyton? What's that about?" And actually, I take that back. I do have a con for season 1. I don't like when Lucas left the hospital and went to go visit Peyton. And then Peyton live streamed it to the world unintentionally.
Okay, again, why the hell does a 16-year-old have a live streaming to who freaking
Yeah.
knows where at all times? And people like made the comment like for her dad. It's like, but like back then we had password protection, we had things. She would they made it very clear in season 1, like Jimmy and Fergie and Junk and all those River Court boys would watch Peyton change.
Yeah.
And like we didn't have issues with that.
It's very we actually like studied this a little bit in college in one of my classes. We talked about like the like first like live streamers and stuff in the 90s, and it was just like a thing. Like
I get it, but
it's really
underage.
weird now, but like back then, huge thing. Cuz it's also like I don't know, there's definitely like a little bit of a status in it too, because you have to remember that's also still within like the time of dial up. Like it takes a lot of access for you to do that and to find it and watch it.
Either way.
Also, Brooke, child pornography, what, season 3?
Like when she
The
was
time
uploading naked pictures of
No, the time
picture
capsule when she like flashed it and
oh
then
yeah,
it
for
ended up
boobs, yeah.
on the
Oh, I
internet.
know, she,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
takes
yeah. But speaking of, I don't know, I feel like
yeah.
one thing that on this podcast we can all mutually agree on, I love Brooke. I think Brooke has one of the best arcs. I think her and Peyton, like, went through it the hardest and, like, Angela, you can fight me. Like, I think, they made Peyton and Brooke, like, severely, like, suffer more than anyone else on the show. But, like, Brooke even though like with Brooke having such like a hard story, like regardless of whether she was being like the comedic one or the dramatic one or whatever, like Brooke was always able to like help balance out like the two couples. Or well, if she was in one of the couples, like I feel like Brooke really did overtime. I don't know. I feel like I'm the most like Brooke if we pull people. Even though I got one quiz where they said I was Dan Scott and they didn't give me reason. I'm like, you're just fucking with me. Like you just like randomly pick someone. I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense as to why this would happen. But I related a lot to Brooke. I feel like Brooke and I have very similar issues in terms of validation, externally versus internally, high achieving, and I really liked her arc, and could relate to her because she similarly to Peyton was neglected, but like how she chose and how it manifested in her was different. And I think, well, I mean, it was like different in how like she interpreted it. I think I guess that's like because they both kind of took it to like I'm the problem, But like Peyton was like, I'm the problem, and so I just should find new people. And Brooke was like, I'm the problem. I should fix myself to get it. I don't know. That's how I kind of see the difference. And I relate a lot to Brooke. And also, I was saying when I first watched the show and they do the time jump, I'm like, I'm really glad I didn't watch the show back then because I would have seriously deluded myself into thinking, like, oh, well, I'm like Brooke. I'm on the cheer team. I can create a multi-million-dollar business right out of high school, like in fashion, and move to New York. That's feasible. Why do you guys love Brooke?
Why do I think Brooke had such great character development. They showed her as like a party girl who just kind of did whatever she wanted, but she also had no parental guidance or anybody who was really telling her no. And so I really like when she moves in to um, Lucas's room and her relationship with Karen. I feel like that was like really genuine, and Brooke, it helped Brooke so much in the choices she made and what she did from then on. You know, she really listened to what Karen said, and I think that that was exactly what she needed, and it allowed her to join. I don't know, like directly, but like she joined and she became the
Mhm.
president, class president,
Student
or was
body
it
president.
school president? Yeah,
I really
student body
loved Karen's
president.
influence on the show,
And
especially
I
like
really
when
liked the
go.
political aspects just because I feel like,
You pause. Sorry. No. You were
oh,
talking. I was
sorry, go
just you
ahead.
paused. So I was talking over to fill time. Go.
Oh, just how that was kind of reflective of her in real life, the political aspect, and I really liked that. She was really involved in the school and always trying to make it a better environment and a better place. And she saw the issues and she tried to correct things that are wrong. I don't
I
know.
think you can really tell
I really
in the
like that about
season or
her.
in the 100th episode, Lucas's wedding to Lindsay, that obviously goes awry. When Karen talks to both of the girls, you can just, or well, specifically when Karen talks to Peyton and Brooke, it's just so very clearly like how much they like soak up any time they would get to speak with Karen, whether it was Peyton at Trick or Brooke when she was dating Lucas, or even after when she lived with Karen. Like they both just were so yearning for like an adult to be like, it's gonna be okay, and like I'm in your corner. Like I loved seeing Karen be that role, and like even like when she was going to Lucas's wedding, like you could tell how much Karen felt for Peyton in that moment. And same with Brooke, even though it wasn't directly about Lucas, like how much Karen was just like, you're like not like, because Karen's like, are you happy to Brooke? And then she's like, not just like with your work, like, are you happy? And like, that's like what Brooke needed because Victoria, Bitchtoria, as they call her, and I enjoy, like, just wasn't it. Angela?
Ditto to all of that.
So, first four seasons, 1 to 4 of One Tree Hill are on the WB, which is more I guess PC, and then they merge with UPN, which Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like the Christian network.
Oh, I
No,
think it is. Yeah.
yeah. So they merge, and which becomes the CW, which is thankfully where we get one of our other favorite shows of all time, Gossip Girl, out of that time. But One Tree Hill makes an interesting choice to do a 4 year time jump from 4 years, 6 months, 2 days. If I'm going to be exact and neurotic, I think is something. It's 4 years, 6 months, something. And we see them all post college time. I'm using quotes because like I don't college or whatever their endeavors were, and like I really like the time jump. I feel like they are one of the shows that did it pretty well. I think my one big qualm with the entire series of One Tree Hill is like Clay and Quinn. I think would be the oldest characters on the show if you're going timeline. By the time One Tree Hill is over in 2012, no one is like maybe 32. And like our core cast, not barely like 26, 27. So like when Brooke is trying to adopt, like Angela, you graduated college at 22. How are your feels on adopting a child?
Oh, awful. I there's no way that I would be at all qualified to adopt.
And like, cause like Brooke's like, I've been an adult, like I've lived this. I was like, you are 22. Like, chill. And I think like Nathan and Haley, like they're because they did some very mature things very young, like Haley got pregnant in high school, gave birth at graduation, like it tried to fake you into believing like everyone was like older and farther along in life. And I guess for like the demographic they were playing to, like us who were like 5 to 10 years younger than the characters, like to believe at that stage like that was normal. But now that
Mhm.
we're like past that, or like right around where they are when they ended the series, it's like this is insane. Like the fact that Lucas probably proposed to Peyton maybe at 20, like maybe, and he felt like the utmost hurt when she
Mhm.
said, "Can we give it another year?" She didn't say no. She's like, "I just need like
Mhm.
a little more time." Yeah, and his whole thing, like, oh my god, I have so many peeves with Lucas in season 5. I do love season 5, but like because we get Jamie, but like so many peeves. Like when Lucas like you said no because you didn't think my book was good enough. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like really? Like that's the reason. Like the only
Right?
reason you thought Peyton would dump you, or not even dump you, say like let's hold off, is because she didn't think she's the one who submitted your damn book to New York. She's the like woman. She had the utmost faith in this book.
Mhm. And if I do remember correctly, their whole argument was not just about like whether or not Lucas would have a successful career, but whether or not Peyton would have a successful career
She's a
because he
woman. We
wanted her
don't
to
care
leave
about that.
LA. It
She's a woman. They don't have careers, Angela. We're in North Carolina. And also, no, well, Lucas said he would move to LA.
But then he would give up his career. He had a job at the college that he went to.
But his whole thing was about him being a successful author, which he can do from anywhere, which he's like, which was a stupid logic of why they would break up. He's like, because you don't think I'll make it as author. It's like,
Okay, but bigger picture too, he was coaching the basketball team that Nathan was playing on. He had to stay there. Like,
well, Nathan just won and would have had to move on to Maryland. But
I mean, still, like, eventually, like, Nathan did transfer colleges, but still, part of that is like having that support to make sure that he could get there. Like, he was just as integral to like Nathan, Haley, and then Jamie's lives at that point because he was like the new Uncle Keith.
Uncle
Like,
Keith,
I know, right?
you made me watch him get shot again.
I'm really sorry. Oh, that was also the first school shooting in.
Before Degrassi?
So I think in US television.
But honestly, this and Degrassi were, I think this is one of the better school shootings I've seen
Hmm.
on TV. In case we
Yeah,
need clarity.
we.
I know in today's history it could be a little confusing, but like I meant on television.
I don't know if I immediately loved how they handled the aftermath though.
Oh no, Brooke and that party was fucking stupid.
Yeah. Like I asked my cousin about that because I was like, is there something that I missed? Like if like at the time, like because I think at that point, like relative to like history, like in the United States, like there had been school shootings, mass shooting events. Did this like reason with like the general sentiment of like pulling together like community, like helping each other grieve or what? And she was just like, no, this is weird, really weird.
Yeah, did not like that at all. But like honestly, I had so much vindication for when Peyton was throwing the books at Lucas. I'm like, yes, like he deserves every one of those books being like thrown
Hmm.
at his head.
Hmm.
Olivia, what do you think of the Peyton Lucas fight in season 5? Or not the fight when she's throwing books? Oh well, or not. That's fine. We don't need Olivia's opinion on this. Oh my god. But yeah, I really like the time jump. I think it was done well. Are you back this time?
I am back. We'll see how long I'm back this time. But I don't think I watched that fight.
You didn't watch the no, wait. You no, you passed no, you it was in the episode in season 5 where she's chucking the books at his head?
Does my mouth look crooked?
No.
No?
Okay, cool. Just making sure I'm not having a stroke during recording.
Yeah, it looks
No, you're
good.
good. But if you do, we have
What
visuals for
episode
the
was
audience.
that?
Season 5, episode 6. It's the very end. It's where she's chucking the books at his head. It's like when it was like
No, I
the thing
don't think I
where she's like,
watched it.
Angela, you're normally better for these like long speeches than I am. But it's where she's like she's like, you told me I was special. You told me something, something, something else. And she's like, you said it to me, you said it to the world, and you didn't mean
Oh,
any of it.
yeah. Is this is post the Lindsay breakup, right?
No, no, this is season 5, episode 6. This is
Oh.
before the Lindsay breakup.
Oh no, I watched that episode, but I guess
Oh,
I didn't
wait.
finish it because I have
This
notes
is like
on
the
it.
Wait,
last scene of this
that's
episode.
wait, that's like the last that's like the one right after he and Lindsay get engaged.
Yes,
There we go. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. No, because I mean, honestly, that was like kind of a dick move. Like, she and Lucas had been having like that big
Oh, that's when he
conversation.
goes
Like,
over
Lindsay was about
and
to
says, "You
leave. And
said you didn't
honestly,
like
like, Lucas
Lindsay?"
pulled the
And they
thing. Like,
kiss.
yeah. And Lucas pulled the thing where he was like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose her. What drastic measure can I do to like get her to stay? And he like reached around, pulled out Peyton's ring, and was like, marry me.
Keith's ring. How dare he do that to Keith?
I know, right?
I know.
Yeah, that was such a dick move. Like, I can't.
Oh my
And
god.
then
And
he
then his whole
justifies
little
it.
like solitude thing on the boat with Andy and his mom for like a month afterward. He left his job. Like, he left Skills to run that poor team alone. Honestly, best thing about season 5, Skills.
Skills and Bevan are like they should I firmly believe like they should have been like regulars for more time than they were.
Oh
Skills and
yeah.
Bevan were like the best.
They
Like
were the
that
best.
scene at the end of season 4 where Skills and Bevan like go to the like have the families meet and the barbecue. Like that scene with Bevan, the two my two standout Bevan scenes, and rest in peace to her real husband who died struck by lightning on a boat. The first one is when her and Rachel are in the bathroom during that photo episode. Angela, I don't know if you remember this. Olivia, it
Mm-hmm.
was on your rewatch list.
I
And
did
Bevan basically
watch.
tells Rachel, like, I played dumb and stupid because you all needed me to be dumb and stupid, but we're going off to college and I don't have to do that anymore. And basically, all you bitches peaked because I let you was
No,
like
and
such a great
that's
scene.
And that's
No
why
good.
I say justice for Bevan, because 4 years, 6 months, and however many days later, we find out that she's married to Tim and they have a baby and she's working at Macy's. And if that is what Bevan wants, I totally appreciate that. But I thought that we were going to see Bevan post time jump, like graduated from Harvard, like discovered like some kind of like
Mhm.
rare, like supernova astrophysicist, like coming back to like Tree Hill to live on the beach because she's made a ton of money and she has like a trophy husband. And granted, Tim can totally be her trophy husband.
They get
And like,
divorced.
Yeah, she said that she hated her husband.
They get divorced.
what?
But I
So,
love the way you find out that her and Tim
What?
are married as they both show photos of their son Nathan. And you're oh, you two hooked up. Cool.
Yep.
of course,
And
Tim
then
would
the other
name
episode when
his son Nathan.
no. Oh yeah. I also justice for Tim. Because one, the actor seems very cool and like very intelligent. And two, like all the homophobia in like Tim's character, of all of the guys, particularly like, all the homophobia. Like, I love the comment in like I think it's like season 8 when like when Nathan's trying to make fun of Julian and he's like, "You shower with 20 guys a night. Like, don't talk to me about like this like sexual tension." But the other scene I love with Bevan is when she's on the river court with Skills, being like, "Our parents want to meet," like Keish, blah blah. And then Skills like, "Do your parents know I'm black?" And she's like, "No, but like I love you, and if they don't accept it, they're not the parents I raised them to be." And I'm like, this is so love, yeah, justice for Bevan and Skills. Season 6 had me so stressed out about whether or not they were going to kill Peyton that I was like a wreck for the 2 days it took me to finish the entire season. I was like mad texting Olivia. And then I thought Angela ruined it for me because I had Googled something like who lit the fire at Dan Scott Motors. And the result history I got was when Nathan and Haley have their baby, blah, 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 blah. And the other history result I got was when when Keith dies, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, that is not what I looked up. This is not what I wanted to do. And so Angela was telling me about a similar experience she had about like someone dying. And I was like, no, I'm like, Angela, you better have not just ruined this. Cause she made it sound like the person was the main character. I told Angela not to give me a name, but then I was about halfway through season 6. I was just panicking for 6 episodes. I'm like, they better not kill Peyton. If I swear, if they kill Peyton, like I'm gonna stop watching the show. I was so annoyed. I was so anxious for like 2 days. I drank a weed soda and I said to picture to Olivia, I'm like, this is all your fault. Like my heart rate probably took like 3 years off my life. I was googling placenta previa, and that's what Karen had though. They both had it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was googling mortality rates to see how likely they are to like kill a character because I knew that her and Lucas were both gonna leave. I'm like, is the reason Lucas leaves because they get to leave happy together to LA to do his movie or something, or is the reason they leave because Lucas loses the baby because they kill Peyton? I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy. And then they didn't kill her. They got to leave happy, and I could calm down again. But then they left the show, and I was like, Season 7 just sucked so much. Season 7 was so stupid. Like, I'm fine just completely skipping season 7 unless you have anything like pertinent, skipping to like 8. Because 7, the only redeeming thing is when Haley's mom dies and Haley goes batshit crazy. I'm like, finally Haley is choosing things and making moves.
See, okay, well, like, first of all, for the record, I want to be very clear. I knew that Jay was watching season 6, and, like, I had seen season 6 live, and I told her very clearly, I know what she's talking about, and we are not talking about the same thing. So, just so that's out there, I did not spoil anything, and this was very, like, one-sided. But no, I agree. I watched season 7. It was like, you get the introduction of Quinn and Clay, like, Alex, you see, like, I don't know, you see more of where it's going, but it wasn't anything particularly special. Didn't they bring Chase back like more in season
Yeah.
7? Yeah.
I like
Which
Chase.
I do like Chase. I think they could have done better for him though.
I like him in season 8. Like, are you at the part where he's like big brother with Chuck?
No. I know
Oh,
that
so
that happens because I watched 4 random episodes from season 8 to like try to prep. Like I watched Brooke and Julian's wedding, spoiler, and
did you watch the one where Brooke is on the bridge?
no.
Like the big hurricane. That's like the most important one to
But
watch.
how would I know that?
Because I put it on my list.
Where did you send it to me?
The group chat.
Oh, well, I mean, I was just trying to prep and be prepared because you guys know a lot more about this than I do.
Oh no, 8 and 9 Olivia is like useless. I had to prep her. Basically, what happens 8 and 9. But I think she did finish till the end. But yeah, 8 Brooke and Julian's wedding. Oh my god, when Olivia gets back, like I have the biggest fucking bone to pick with Brooke and Julian's wedding. Do you know what it
Really?
is? I have the biggest fucking bone to pick. And I need Olivia back for it because I sent her a screen recording on the podcast when they also talk about this. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for someone bringing up this bullshit. But I need, okay, well, remind
I
me when
mean,
Olivia comes.
oh, okay.
When
Yeah.
Olivia comes back,
Like,
I will cover it. But,
okay.
I like Sylvia. I thought the wedding was nice. I think, oh, I also liked Mia. Mia came in season 5. I
Mm-hmm.
liked how they kept the live music, and I liked that it felt very MTV to me. Like, you didn't watch like Laguna Beach and the Hills, but like that was one of the things MTV was like known for with those shows, like putting in like really cool like trending music, and I like that. Like, obviously
Interesting.
One Tree Hill's like lean more emo and like different, but I
Mm-hmm.
liked the music choices. Brooke and Julian have their twins, and obviously it's a theme in Tree Hill because of the patriarchy that at least one of every kid needs to be named the last name of its mother, which is how we get James Lucas Scott, Sawyer
Sawyer
Brooke
Scott.
Scott. I don't know Lydia's middle name, and then we get Davis and Jude Baker. Which I also
Oh,
think
yeah.
was particularly ironic for Brooke's kids, being that Julian changed his last name to his mother's last name, that we
Mm-hmm.
still needed to give the babies Julian's last name, but like, sure. Brooke and Payne. Like, I liked how they could be like P. Sawyer and B. Davis. Like, I liked the ring to it. I'm like, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. I don't think it was any intentional on the writers, but when they realized they could, I liked the names a lot.
It was cool.
Like, I like the nicknames. So, did you watch any of season 9?
No.
Oh my god, so we could just completely lie to you and tell you what happens
Yeah.
and be like,
All I know is that Dan comes back to try to save Nathan when he's
Nathan.
kidnapped.
Nathan gets kidnapped by the Russian like mob because like
Yeah.
basically they're recruiting in Europe. They're only supposed to stay in like insert country here, but Nathan, because he didn't like any of the players, explores and tries to like sign someone, which like the Russian people in America are like, no, you can't do that, and kidnap him, and it's like the dumbest thing ever. The best part of it was Joy did an interview like 2 years ago when they started the podcast. Like, what was the hardest scene for you? The one where Nathan's kidnapped, because like it's just so stupid and jumping the shark that like Joy had a hard time like focusing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else happened? Julian leaves the baby in a hot car, which is sad for a hot minute.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Both of
baby's
them or
fine.
one?
Just one. They
Oh,
had split. They'd split
Lord.
the kids. Chase and Chuck become very close, and during that process we find out that Chuck's dad hits him. Chase saves him and then gets discharged from the armed services. Luckily it's not a dishonorable discharge. And then in the process of Dan saving Nathan, Dan gets shot and dies.
'Cause he's good
And
now. Evil was his immortality. I'm
there
kidding.
you go. And then episode 12, Clay and Quinn get engaged. And so the big thing, which you're missing in season 9, is Clay is starting to have a weird dream. He's like sleepwalking, and he's sleepwalking to the beach and to parks. And that's the reason Nathan goes to Europe in the first place, because like Clay's having these dreams. So goes back to his psychiatrist, and while he's at the facility, he makes a few friends, and one of them is like a little kid who really likes Wolverine comics like he does, and like builds airplanes. Too many white men names. But Clay's psychiatrist tells him, like, you keep going to a fugue state. Like, he bought drugs during it. Like, he's doing a lot of funky things. And so he goes back to the psychiatrist and he keeps working on it. And the psychiatrist keeps asking questions like, tell me about the day Sarah died. Like, tell me about it. And they walk through, like, he walks him through, like, the exact scene where they're talking about the pen. She passes out. And so during this scene, as Clay is walking through the apartment, once the paramedics take Sarah away, he sees another room. This
Mhm.
room is a nursery for his son, Logan. So what you
Okay.
realize is the little boy who Clay has been making friends with is his son, who he forgot about for 6 years.
What?
He went into it. So when Sarah died, first every day since then, he, like, the psychiatrist and Sarah's parents could not get him to remember about his son as a trauma response. So her parents took him in until Clay remembered, and then Clay and Quinn adopt him and get married.
What the
But now that Olivia is finally back, we can talk about my favorite scene. Olivia, you should know this. Brooke and Julian's wedding. Do you remember what my big issue with Brooke and Julian's wedding is? The line I've been yelling at
How,
you for months about?
yes, how Peyton and Lucas missed it because their baby was sick.
What kind of bullshit excuse is that? We could not have written anything better. Peyton couldn't have sent Kings of Leon. Lucas couldn't have, like, written something to give to Jamie. Or, well, Jamie's speech is really cute for Julian. But, like,
Mhm.
literally, we, like, hated and disrespected, like, Lucas and Peyton so much. And how vital these characters were. Like, Sawyer is named after Brooke, for sakes. And all we could think of was the baby died. We couldn't pull a Samantha Jones with the white flowers on Vic's casket. We couldn't do anything more, especially now that Brooke went poor and Julian. Like, I'm sure Lucas sold 2 books, and somehow Peyton started a label with nothing, paid Brooke back twice her investment, and like had nothing. We couldn't have done anything. The baby was sick, and again, both parents. Does this baby have cholera, monkeypox? Like, what disease could? Like, what baby could? What in what situation could both parents not make it? Either
I
parent.
absolutely agree. Both of them needed to be there, and I understand there was issues
Yeah.
with like the director or the producer, whoever there was
The
issues with,
creator,
but
yeah.
they absolutely should have done something more. They could have sent a letter. Like, he's a fucking writer, and he couldn't write a letter to be read at the wedding
Or
or something, anything.
or like when Brooke drowns, like Peyton didn't check in on her. And like for all of season 8 starts off with Haley writing letters to Lucas. And like when Lucas comes back in season 9, like just doesn't address that. Like Haley's been updating him on what's happening. Like, no, like we just like don't. I just felt like I understand they left. And they had every right to leave, especially Hillary had every right to leave with the terrible treatment she was facing on that show. But it's like it just felt like so like heartbreaking as like a fan of not only the couple but like a fan of this dynamic and of the show. For as much as like you don't like Lucas and Peyton, like they were integral to these moments, especially in Brooke's life. And the fact that they and like Lydia being born, and the fact that they kind of just like write them out, like, and like when they bring them up, it's at like the dumbest time. Like Sylvia's like, oh, like my friend was like adopted. Like, oh, my best friend. It's like the times where they would mention Lucas Payne after they left, like they didn't need to be brought up. And at moments like Lydia's birth or other things where it would have been make more sense for them to be mentioned, ghosts, crickets, nothing.
I know. And then in the end, when Lucas is brought up when Dan is dying, but like he can't even be there or do anything while Dan is dying, which I guess is one thing, but it's also so stupid. They should have absolutely tried to have them communicate still. Like, even in Grey's Anatomy, Christina texts Meredith.
Yeah,
Why
like
couldn't there be letters or something?
or like
A form
even
of communication?
or like a montage of like past scenes because we know that they have the rights to that. Like there's nothing that they could have done.
A phone call, we don't have to hear whoever's on the other line, like
Exactly.
something.
I was just furious those last 3 seasons because I get they wanted off. They wanted to write them off. I get it. But it's also like One Tree Hill is all about like the emotions, the small town, this community, and for 2 vital members to leave the community and either to have everyone like it's like no one like everyone was like sad that they left, but it's like for them to still like allegedly be as close as they were and like to not be like I'm pissed Lucas left or I'm pissed Peyton like they weren't angry at them. They were just like they didn't have feelings. They weren't angry, they weren't sad, they were just kind of, like, neutral with the fact that, like, 2 of the leads were written off.
Yeah, they deserved better. And so did we, the people who were watching.
Exactly.
Justice was not served.
I agree. And I think now is a perfect time to move on after and beyond the show of why fans and granted, the ending was like, I get it, like, Jamie ends up playing and beating Nathan's scoring record, and they're all still in Tree Hill living, loving life, all that great stuff. But, like, what pisses me off so much is, like, the creator of the show went on to do I didn't know this, Angela, he did The Royals, that E! Show about, like where the woman who played, like,
Oh, yeah.
Blair's boyfriend who was sleeping with his stepmother, like, that woman's
Mhm.
on the show. Elizabeth not Elizabeth Hurley, something like that. But like he wrote that show too, and so the creator of this of One Tree Hill and the show is a complete monster. Just a few of the things that the podcast revealed. He tried to sell the used undergarments of the women after the show was over. He kept Polaroids of all of their samples, and I believe also sold those. The big one for me that Sophia Bush says, hair was a big conflict on the show for him for some reason. They were very particular about the way these girls wore their hair. And like there was one where Sophia Bush got bangs for another role she was in and came back from hiatus. And the creator yelled at her and essence was like, I can't believe you went to go get bangs. All the bitches in my high school who like wouldn't talk to me had bangs.
It's literally horrible, and hearing what they had to say about it and the things that they had to fight for, they shouldn't have had to fight for.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a good thing that there are strong women who were able to fight for those things, but just to do their characters justice, but it's just sad that they even had to.
Yeah, like I heard Hillary wasn't even asked back for season 9. And granted, I don't think she should have done it. Like even if like I don't think she would have done it even if she was asked. But like the fact that like they wouldn't even ask is like kind of heartbreaking to the fans. Like I remember them all saying like if what you saw as having to do and you questioned and you thought it was bad, they were like, we know and probably the first iteration of whatever it was much worse than this. But like they had to do it. And so it was just like really it's like hard watching the show and it's like knowing like they've said like they'll never do a reunion because there's no way to do it with these characters and like with this IP without him profiting from it. I don't know, like Hillary and like some of them all go do Hallmark movies or Lifetime. I don't know. They're Christmas movies. I don't know the difference. But like they go off and
I
try
think
to
they're
do
Hallmark.
they go off and like do reunions with these movies because like they'll never do like a One Tree Hill thing, which is just so disappointing because like they can't do it, which is why I think like which is why the podcast is so great, like listening to them talk about their characters. Like another big thing was like the cheerleaders couldn't wear their hair up because like boys needed to see their hair flip and fall. Like also the cheering was so bad. Olivia, you like the cheers were so bad. They either should have stuck to like the high school like actual just like cheer moves or dance routines because the hybrids were just like an awkwardly slow pace. Like they either needed to do it faster or like the standing cheers.
Yes, I agree. The cheers definitely. Well, I think they also were like taught dances and cheers like the day of
Yeah.
and then expected to learn them. So it was kind of like they didn't give them the opportunity to even do it justice. And the fact that he wouldn't let them put their hair up, and Hillary Burton was a cheerleader and she said like we would never practice with our hair down, and they
Yeah.
still would not listen.
So was Bevan.
Yeah, so was Bevan. And I think so was Rachel. I don't know her real
No,
name.
she was a pageant girl.
A pageant girl. Oh, okay.
Like Rachel's entrance song, I don't remember, but it's like I don't know what high school cheer team would have like allowed this for an audition.
Oh, her audition song was horrible. And it's sad that they made her do that. And I know during the podcast she said she had no idea that that was even gonna happen. And
Yeah. Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh. Well, since I'm a very late bloomer and I know you both like dated a little bit in high school, would either of you have walked out in front of your partner's father in a towel?
So
No. That
In the
sounds
pilot.
terrifying.
In the pilot, Peyton does that in front of Dan and she's like, "Hey, Mr. Scott." And I'm like, "Oh."
yes, and Nathan walks out and he's got his nipple pierced.
For like
And
two
they like
episodes.
glued a nipple ring onto
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
My god. To me, the show like just felt like very like for sexually repressed kids. Cause for its time, it felt like a show that like talked about sex like a lot more than other shows, but like wouldn't show anything. And I'm not saying like they had to, but like for the amount it's implied every character is having sex, but for like few makeout scenes, like few like nudity scenes. And again, I'm not trying to say that they had to do it, but it's like for how much they talked about everyone having sex and for not seeing it, it was like, oh, so everyone's just lying that they're sleeping together all the time. This is like all the kids in high school who are like you always hear the kids who are talking about it aren't actually the ones doing it because like the ones doing it don't have time to talk about it.
Yes, exactly like that. But I know some scenes like the one with Peyton and Lucas, I think maybe in the hotel room
The
when she's
Vegas
like going to
one,
check when she's like checking on her dad.
oh yeah,
Mm.
I think she was supposed to take off her shirt and not have anything,
yeah.
and she was like, "No, I'm not doing that." So I know she ended up having like a shirt on still. Um, but even with Haley and the first time her and Nathan have sex and like what she was wearing, I know they talked about that on the podcast. She wanted to pick something that wasn't too sexy, I guess.
My thing that was so ironic though, I'm like, girl, you're popping through that top, like.
I don't think she intended that to happen.
Yeah, she's like in this little like silky, what she said, like kind of sports bra. I'm like, that is not a sports bra, girl. Your nips are like fully
You
perked
know,
up
I
in that.
really liked it,
It
but
was
they make
cute.
fun of her for it.
Oh yeah,
And then they go and take her when she's having her bachelorette party, even though she's already married. They go and take her to the lingerie store, and then they're
Oh,
making fun
yeah.
of what she was wearing.
I love like as I will call like the multiverse of like One Tree Hill. All the people I didn't realize associated with people associated on the show. Tyler Hilton, who plays Chris Keller, is married to Megan Park, who directed The Fallout, which is super awesome. But as I and I think many other people of my generation, our generation, know her as Grace Bowen, the woman or the girl who killed her father for having sex for the first time in a plane crash.
Oh my god. Secret Life was a wild show.
I will never rewatch that. Okay. Oh no, it was Dawson's because there was some show ish that I was like, Angela, you don't want to watch the show. You're like me, and if you start, you're gonna
Yeah.
finish it, and you're not gonna want to finish it. Okay, it was Dawson's,
I hated
and
that show
then
so much.
I only watched like 3 or 4 episodes and I just
it's good you
never
don't.
looked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good you don't have
that's the
Angela and
way to
Mine's
go.
Yeah, it's good you don't have Angela and Mine's issues where once we start a show, we have to finish it because
Do
Dawson's.
they reference it
Oh my god, yeah, they reference it because
in
it's
One Tree Hill when Julian's having the meeting and she's like, "Oh, how is this any different than the Creek?"
yeah. Well, they
She's talking
reference.
about Dawson's Creek,
They
right?
do, and they
Yeah.
reference it in the first episode. Oh yeah, this was the other thing when the girls are talking about like in the first episode when Haley's like, "What's your porn name?" And then the girls in their podcast like, "Teenagers shouldn't do that." I'm like, "Oh my god, my friends and I did that all the time. We called it your stripper name, but like that's like a very common thing for young people to do, is it not?"
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I was watching another show on Netflix
Yeah,
and they referenced it as well.
yeah. I'm like,
So,
that's a
I
very
think it's a common thing.
yeah. I think it's a very common
I
thing.
think
I mean,
someone
we
just
no, it's, we call it. We would say like, "What's your stripper name?" But like
Yeah,
same
stripper
thing.
name. The name of your first pet, right?
It's like your first pet in the street you grew up on.
Mine wouldn't be good.
Mine, like, yeah, neither would mine. Or it's like, or sometimes it's your mother's maiden name worked in there. Like, there's a few different. But Haley,
Well, the name of my first pet was Cody, so right there we're not off to a good start.
my God, yeah, no, I don't know my first pet, but like I had like fish that were like salt and pepper.
Oh
But
my
like I
god.
picking one like wouldn't
You
work
could
out
do
very
something with that.
Sorry. Also, season 8 and 9, trash how they decided. I don't know whether they couldn't get the rights from Gavin DeGraw or whatnot to use the original song, but all of the terrible variations in season 8 and 9. And since I'm on the topic of Gavin DeGraw,
Oh, wait. Okay. So like in real time, I remember like when they were talking about that again, like I don't know if it's like a rights thing or what, but like it was advertised as like it was a celebration of One Tree Hill and like the fact that like they were a very musical show and they wanted to like expand it and like bring in artists to like show their renditions.
They were
Mhm.
not good.
Okay.
None of
Yeah, so
them.
Well,
I haven't heard any of the ones from season 8. So it's like all the episodes from season 8 that I watched on a plane from my most recent trip, and I forgot headphones, so I did them subtitles only.
got it. Gavin DeGraw slash his song. Well, here the One Tree Hill theme song, which is an iconic song for that time period, was used 1, 2, 3. Was used 6 times, unironically, throughout the show.
When they had Gavin DeGraw sing.
No, they played it during the father-son game in episode 1. Then Gavin DeGraw played it at the cafe. Then Jamie sang it with Gavin DeGraw in season 5. And then he sang it again at the end, like unironically, like Gavin. And then Gavin also came to like the USO show and just like randomly would pop up singing his other songs. Oh,
Yeah.
another thing I have on here. Was Jamie conceived when Haley and Nathan were supposed to be at Keith's wake?
Okay, I don't know. Honestly, it's really hard to like tell time properly, like particularly in those first 4 seasons because it's 2 seasons to 1 year, but they also really don't do major holidays. Like I think the Halloween episode in season 3 was the first holiday that we got that like signified
No.
some sort of time period, but also because they're playing basketball, high school basketball has a very specific season, and so like the way that they pitched it, it was like basketball was like ultra compressed almost,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I don't know, like it's just like it made their school year didn't make sense because high school basketball is like like 3.5 months if you don't make it to state, 4.5 to 5 if you do. And in their junior year, like Lucas missed that shot, so they didn't make it to state. But then their senior year basketball season was a lot shorter than junior year. And we also came in mid-season or like at either like mid-season or like partway into the season of junior year because half the basketball team got kicked out, which is how we got Lucas there in the first place. So like first season was too long, the second season was too short. It didn't make sense.
Well, it was like a season and a half because they started basketball. So basketball like ended season 1, and it came back season 3, episode 6, when Lucas and Nathan have their big fight at that midnight pep
It's
rally,
like
which
pep
I've never
rally.
Yeah.
who. So it's like, and it goes till season 4, episode 10, because that's state championships, which is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. Oh, also, tell me your Dan Scott son without telling me your Dan Scott son. I have to get to know my father and find his weakness so that I can avenge all of those that I love. Sorry, Lucas's time capsule thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that really got me.
Oh.
I'm like, that's more Dan Scott than
The
anything
whole
Nathan has ever done. Okay, but Jay, you were gonna say something.
Oh, Angela, how would you feel if I learned more about like how to actually play basketball from One Tree Hill than I have from like ever watching like a real game? Like it finally solidified to me while watching this that there are 5 players on the court at one time, and those 5 have to be able to play defense and offense.
I mean, I think that's fair. Like, I don't.
Oh, do NBA teams also switch jerseys when they play home versus away games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know why their jerseys kept changing, and then at like one time I'm like, oh,
yeah. Most
Yeah,
teams
so home
actually
is
have like
usually white,
oh,
like the white jerseys when you're home.
oh, like universally.
Yeah.
Why don't the
I don't
cheerleaders get different
think so.
uniforms?
It's not like that?
No, it's like when you're home, you usually wear like your home team's colors. When you're away, like that's when you might switch to a different color cuz your home team's cuz like your colors might clash with the team you're playing. So like when we play like when the Warriors play at home in San Francisco, they'll wear yellow. But if they go to play like the Lakers also wear yellow, so they have to swap into like white or black or blue cuz the Lakers are most likely going to be wearing yellow or gold.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Olivia, if you say it with enough conviction, I'm sure people like me would believe you. So keep on
Well,
going with
honestly,
that.
I was trying to remember and I shouldn't have said it so confidently, but I don't really remember. I just know that our basketball season, when I was a cheerleader, started in December
Mhm.
and we had like holiday tournaments. And then I don't know, we made it to state every year that I was a cheerleader. We never won, but we would win like every other game
Yeah.
and we never won state.
Like my high school team, we made it 3 years to state when I was there. We won twice. But so like that was pretty cool. But it was like it was a really big thing. Like So like watching like One Tree Hill and like their high school basketball was like, oh my god, this is reminding me of high school basketball and like when I started to really like it.
Basketball was my favorite. I think that's probably another reason I like this show so much.
I didn't like my sports team. My school wasn't known for sports, so I think they did fine. I think they did like pretty well, but like I don't think they ever did like spectacular. Like I know we didn't lose every game, but I can't tell you like I don't think we ever won anything big either. What like overall like I'm now very attached to the show that I've only discovered like a month and a half ago cuz I feel like just like the human experience is very traumatizing and like a lot of things happen without like robots and superheroes and shields and like a lot of shows like lean the other way or maybe it's just like the content I'm choosing to consume but like fucking Riverdale like what the fuck I know you two still watch like that was like a teen drama originally and now is all like Stranger Things and like the Upside Down essentially or
Oh my
like in
god.
Winston-Salem like I feel like just shows aren't like there's like a part of like when as much as terrible obviously as this human was like someone who can like really like tap into like just like making like figuring out the moments that like attach to people's emotional like senses I feel like is like harder to find
Well,
now.
like first when you said that, that reminded me of like when Brooke is reading Julian's like movie review and the reviewer's like
Yeah,
everything in Hollywood now is like
so big.
big and loud and in your face. He's like it's very rare that you see like a whisper and I feel like One Tree Hill was kind of like the whisper of its day. Like or like just in that time period like it was a lot
Yeah.
more of a whisper. It's like things would build and you would have like like you would have real stories but like now it's like everything is kind of like built for like shock factors. And like Olivia, I don't know if you like feel the same way about Riverdale, but like first two seasons, like really great, like really cool, like building into those stories. And now like there's like serial killers around every corner and like cult leaders, Chad Michael Murray,
He's a
for
He's
cult
back in
leader.
the
example.
show. He is a cult
Yeah,
leader in the show.
he's in
Is he a
I
good one?
have
Riverdale.
to say, um, I started watching it and I did like it in the beginning, and it got so crazy and so unbelievable
Yeah.
that I just stopped watching it. And I also would watch it and just like criticize everything, the acting, all of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where did they come up with these names like Jughead, Jelly Bean, and then the names of the cities where it's taking place? It just really blew my mind.
Well,
Like,
aren't the
See,
names from the comics?
yeah, so originally, like Riverdale in its inception, and they're still kind of trying to do this. It's like it's based on the Archie comics. They're trying to like build out like Archie's world, and then they were also trying to tie in other comics with it as well. So like on Netflix, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, like how in Riverdale they talk about Greendale, the neighboring town. Sabrina and Riverdale were supposed to have tie-ins. So originally, like that's where you started getting the creepy stuff in Riverdale because it was like the magic and the witches in Greendale were like bleeding out into the next town. But they never got
Oh.
there until this final season. And so, you know, spoiler, Cheryl Blossom is a witch.
Ooh,
And
fun.
so, yeah, so she, like, for this next upcoming season of Riverdale, she's cursed the town. And so you're going to get some of the Greendale witches coming in to try to help them undo it if that's the way that they decide to take it because they did end up ending Sabrina. But
Ooh,
like
how
they
Agatha
finally
of her.
got there. And so it's like the same thing with like CW, Katie Keene,
Yeah.
also like a spin-off of another comic character and so it's supposed to like bring you back to like that time with just like some updates but then they decided like we're gonna make it like all like flash and no substance.
Angela, why do you love One Tree Hill?
So guys, like another popular show of the CW of the WB time that did not really make it through its transfer into the CW, Veronica Mars, I am a marshmallow. And I like all of the little relationships. Naley, obviously, as we've talked about. I love the relationship between the three girls. Like, I don't know. To me, it was like I've seen a lot of articles like criticizing their friendship and how like they're all fake
What?
friends. Yeah.
What?
So like I read all of that like in prep before I started watching One Tree Hill. It's like criticizing it like, "Oh yeah, like Brooke and Haley have like the fakest relationship
Was this
ever
written by men? And was this of now or of the time period?
of now." Yeah, so it's
Men?
like other people like rewatching it. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and pull those up. So, like people like criticizing like Rachel um for like all of her behavior, which like yeah, she was not like the paragon of virtue and like she could have
Oh,
been better, but at the same time, it's like she was trying to do the best that she could. And it was like she's like a very like desperately like hurt character. So I don't know, just like seeing them and like the way that like they try
ew.
to like build relationships, I really like that. And Nathan and Lucas together, I'm all about the brothers. Like if you
I
ask
do love
anyone
the
who
brothers together.
like I've been talking about Kenobi nonstop, and I've been telling everyone that Kenobi is actually like the truest story of brotherly love because you have Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they're never gonna actually kill each other because they love each other so much because they're brothers. That's how I feel about Lucas and Nathan. Like they did all kinds of fucked up stuff to each other, but they never actually took it too far because it's like secretly they cared a lot about each other, and then you actually get to see them outwardly care about each other.
I love how when they started calling each other like big bro and little bro.
Mm-hmm.
And then the scene where they're having Jamie help fix up the car was really
Oh my
sweet.
god, right?
It's like when like Jamie comes out like looking like a little Keith in the all denim and the bandana, which is like really cute.
Oh yeah. And just also, can we say like Skills and Jamie's relationship?
Oh
Best
my
thing
god. So
ever.
Skills and Jamie were so cute.
But I also think Jamie and Quentin were really cute.
Oh my god,
And I was
Quentin.
watching the scene
Oh,
where they're both wrapping their wrist,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
makes him the cape. Like, I just love that so much.
I just like
Oh, and Jamie when he gives the jersey that he
to,
wanted to keep to
this is
Quentin's
this is
brothers.
why when you bitches said you didn't cry at the show, I'm like, how did you not cry when Jamie is handing that jersey to Andre? I was so emotional.
I was okay. I'd never experienced true fear than when Sam was kidnapped
That
by
was terrifying. Oh my god,
right.
Jenna from
Oh, young
Awkward,
Evan
love her.
Peters. Oh, and
That was
Jenna
hilarious.
from Awkward, yeah.
It was so funny. I saw a thing where they were like the girls on their podcast. Where I was like, "Who was like the most random guest star?" They're like Evan Peters. We have no clue how we got him on our show, and like he doesn't even know, but like it happened. Jack Daniels.
Love Evan Peters so much.
Oh my god, no! But when Sam was kidnapped, that was terrifying. And then I don't know if you. Okay, well, when you finish season 8, he comes back and attacks Brooks again, and like that's terrifying.
Are you kidding me?
No, he gets released.
Xavier?
Yeah,
I hate this
I just watched
guy.
that episode.
Oh my
good job.
god. Does Jack Daniels also come back?
No,
Damn
no,
it.
he gets fostered like in
Yeah.
Charlotte or something.
Yeah, but like it
No,
would
but
have
he
been
comes
nice
back
to
and attacks
see
Brooks.
like him and Sam come back and like I would have liked to have seen a continued relationship with
No.
her and Brooke.
I know, I was
Like
kind of bummed. I wonder if that like lines up with the awkward timeline. I don't know when it started.
it doesn't. There's like a 4-year gap.
No, there's a
Oh,
while.
that's sad. No, I really liked her, and I'm sad that like for the first two attempts Brooke had at children, like they were completely like cold turkey, like cut off.
Oh, I do have a bone to pick. Stop naming all like Latin. I cannot say it right. Stop naming all Latin characters Angela or Angie. Stop it. I, like every single like movie, book, TV show I watch, there is some like character of like Hispanic Latin American origin, and her name is Angela. We have other names. I know my name is Angela,
Not
but
only
we have
Angela,
other ones.
aren't you Angela Marie too? Like that does not help your case.
Okay, that's all of their names too. Like I watched some like spy movie the other day and like the guy like fell in love with one of his co-conspirators and he proposed to her in the bar afterward and he's like, "Angela Marie Lopez, will you marry me?" And I'm just like, "Could you have given her any more of a generic name? You put zero thought into this."
That's literally your name.
I know.
Oh, also, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Now we're just going like random things. Haley like never had to stand up for Lucas the way like Lucas would stand up for her with Nathan. Like Lucas went to bat for Naley multiple times, and like Haley just like would berate him for kissing Peyton or with Brooke. And like even at that season 5 finale when it's like, who do you want to be with? Like, what do you want? Haley was just like, pick them. I don't care who. Pick Lindsay, pick Peyton, pick Brooke. Like, I'm over this. And like after all the times Lucas went to bat with you and with Nathan, like seriously?
No, I agree, and I feel like every time Peyton would, like, turn to Haley for comfort, she would be like, "You'll be fine, figure it out, like,
Yeah.
it'll all work out." And she didn't really she
Haley was not
wasn't
nearly as
being
good of a friend.
supportive.
Yeah, Haley was not
Yeah.
nearly as good of a friend to Lucas as Lucas was to her. Angela, your disagreement statement now?
I don't. Oh, here's the thing. I can't necessarily say that you're wrong because Jay, you've now seen this multiple times. Olivia, you have watched these episodes multiple times. Like I haven't even finished my first like watch through, but I don't know if that's exactly correct.
But
Like
like
it just
but
it
you're at the part where you're at the part where Lucas and Peyton left. So like you like where do you see Haley standing up for Lucas, not for Peyton? Because like she gives Peyton's the letter at the end. Even
mhm.
in the vows, Lucas finally talked to Peyton, and Peyton was a bitch. Like I get the laugh, I get the joke, but like really, like Haley, like where do you see like Haley standing up for Lucas the way like Lucas went to bat for Naley? Or you just don't think Lucas went to bat for Naley, I guess would be the other take.
I mean, he didn't really. Like, he gave her so much crap, like, when they were dating, like, all the way up until they got married. And then they got married, and then Lucas was
Wait,
like,
which time? Season 1 marriage or season 3 marriage?
season one marriage.
Okay.
So it's yeah, like he spun out every time he found out something about Nathan and Haley. So it's like he wasn't supportive until he was like, okay, like this isn't going anywhere, and he had actually started to build a relationship with Nathan.
But
Oh
I
no,
So
feel
I
like
it's
he
like
agree.
wasn't supportive because he wasn't sure of Nathan at the time, and he was trying to look out for Haley. So he was trying to be her friend, and I know he wasn't supporting the relationship that she was starting with Nathan, but I always felt it was because he didn't trust Nathan and he wanted Haley to be with somebody who deserved her.
see, I
Yeah.
can see that, and I think that that's definitely part of it, but I also think that there was a part of Lucas that felt threatened. Because then like
Yeah.
it came to like multiple points where he kind of put her in situations where it was like me or Nathan.
But like not once they were married. Like
Yeah,
seasons
exactly. Like once they were married, like things started to change. And like
but that's
granted
my point. Like only season 1 was like Lucas like that. Season 2 when they broke up, like Haley didn't know it, but like Lucas was going to Nathan all the time, like, take your wife back. You said you were gonna get married, like be back with her. Season 3, when like the Chris stuff, like when like Nathan like gets injured and is in the wheelchair and like treating Haley like crap, like he's like, Nathan, you can't do this to your wife anymore. Like Haley, like I agree in season 1, Lucas was not there. But like to me throughout the entire like 6 seasons, like there's never been a point to me where Haley like was like, Lucas, like I'm fighting for your happiness the way Lucas did for her.
because I don't think Lucas is that person. Like Haley's a very straightforward person. Lucas very much fell into his like I am a soul of an artist. I am tortured. I need to live out all of my feelings and explore all of these options and see like where they go and then like I'm going to try to do the best like for everyone, but secretly like my heart is still following the comet that streaked across the sky and forever emblazoned its burning effigy on my eyeballs. Like
Okay,
I don't
Scrooge.
like I just don't think that like that approach would have been helpful at all with Lucas because like you see like these options all the time where like Lucas is with Brooke and he has to go be Peyton's savior.
Yeah,
So it's like
completely. But like I'm not saying Haley has to show up the way Lucas shows up, but like Haley just has never showed up for Lucas. Like the biggest he showed up for Lucas was like, hey Lucas, like you might not want to marry Lindsay. I read your book. But it's never been like, Lucas, you love Peyton or you love Brooke. It was always a very judgmental, like, you love Brooke, stop kissing Peyton, which is a valid statement to make. But it was never like I'm fighting. It was never like, Lucas was very much like, I guess, like, I don't know, maybe it's a difference. Like, you're right, because like
So
Haley
no,
never would fight.
I do understand where you're coming from because I actually had this conversation with another friend who I recently found out liked One Tree Hill, and we were
Do we
talking
know them?
about it.
Do we know them?
It's ours little sister. So we watched like 2 episodes together last week, and like we were specifically talking about Haley, and we were talking about things that felt on brand for Haley and things that felt off brand for Haley. And that was one of the points that came up, and it was like the advice that Haley gives, it's like it's very much on brand for Haley because Haley sees kind of like in black and white. And that's something that like doesn't change like from the pilot all the way
Yeah.
through to the end, she says. Because like
Yeah.
I haven't gone to the
Yeah.
end, so like I can't say that because like we were watching season 7, but it was just like what's on brand for Haley is like just like saying things bluntly and kind of just leaving them at that.
I'm going through my random notes. In season 1, when you actually watch through the theme song, as I know most of us like skip through because thank you all the buttons, Peyton kisses Nathan, and she's the only one to have to kiss someone in the opening credit scene for the whole first season, which was really annoying to me.
Interesting.
And the entire series, she's the only one to kiss someone during that. And it's also like they're the couple that breaks up in episode 2. Like you had no better footage of like Peyton other than her kissing Nathan in the scene.
I did not notice that.
I didn't
Mhm.
either.
But I do skip it. I think I let
Yeah.
it play one time and then like we're good for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Oh, I jammed out for like the first 3 seasons. Like
I love the song.
every
Like,
time it came on, I had like my fake mic and I was like,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, let's not. And then the show also used some other songs from some very triggering other movies. So one of the songs they use after Lucas and Lindsay are no longer together, Peyton and Lucas are finally taking their walk to set up Brooke for Angie, and they're using a song from the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants too, and it's right after Amber Tamblyn miscarries with, I think his name is Brian, like the Asian man, and he's trying to tell her like people don't always like leave you, like I'm still gonna be here for you, like even without the baby. And then in episode season
wait,
6, episode 4,
they
they
had her
use this.
miscarry in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants too?
Just was she not pregnant?
No, yeah, she's not pregnant.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
she gets her period.
okay.
Okay, continue.
Well, the point
Sorry.
is, no wait. Season 6, episode 4, they use the song from when Sammy dies in Dance Academy.
Oh God.
In season 7, episode 3, they
That
use the
show is so
song.
good.
Yes,
Sorry.
they do. Oh my god,
Okay.
I wouldn't have pinned you for Dance Academy, but I'm very happy. In season 7, episode
I've
3,
seen it twice.
they use a song from The Kissing Booth 3, the one where they opened the beach house. And then now, to wrap up this episode, why do you love One Tree Hill? And then I'll give you my quiz.
Okay, wait, did we do a quiz already?
No,
Are we doing the quiz?
you're doing the quiz. We're gonna end with the quiz.
Okay. Um, I think I love this show so much just because when I watched it the first time, I felt, I don't know, I probably just felt like I related to it a lot being in high school and a cheerleader. Um, but that's pretty much where the relating ends. I just really like the character development and seeing how they all change so much throughout the series. And I feel like there was a lot to learn from each character. Um, like even with Haley, learning like never give up on your dreams. Brooke really taught me like never settle. And Peyton just like go for it, even though there's a lot of obstacles in the way. And I think like she put her career first. She did not want to get married when Lucas proposed. And I just feel like there was really good lessons that I learned watching the show. So yeah, that's why I like it
I
so much.
really don't understand this in shows. Sorry, the last tangent is like when couples like propose and they're like, I'm not ready yet. Like, is there like I feel like maybe this is just like I grew up in a much more like there's some parts of my childhood that are very like traditional like path, but then there are some parts that like my family's like very different. Like engagement doesn't mean married within 6 months. So I don't understand why when people propose like I'm not ready to get married. But like can't you just have like a longer engagement? Like why do we have to like say like marriage? Like you're not asking like do you want to get married tomorrow? Like I don't know. Culturally it might just be like I have a very like liberal like don't need common law marriage is fine kind of family, so I don't know.
I agree. I think don't people normally have a long engagement? It's not like you can plan a wedding overnight.
Like in the interpretation that I have heard of long engagement, it means a year or year and a half, not
Wait, what?
yeah. Like, that is a long engagement. Like, anything longer than that, they're just like, well, what are you doing?
It takes me a year. Like, my dress needs fittings. I need time. Like, to me, it's a year minimum for an engagement.
I agree.
Like, no, I totally agree too. But like,
Angela,
if
you're
I
not
were
going
to
to be
say
able to
like,
get to New York Public Library with under a year, girl. Like,
yeah,
sorry
I
to break
know,
it to
I'm
you.
gonna
We
have
need to
to,
book that now.
I'm gonna have to start lobbying them now to even get on the list. No, but yeah, like that's like typically what I've heard, and it's like when someone talks about a long engagement, it's like they mean like 2 years max, not like anything
Oh.
longer than that, because at that point they're just like, well, what are you even doing? And so it's like,
Taking
also
your
like
time.
think back to the time.
Yeah.
It's
They were
like
20.
now it's like we have like all of these kinds of freedoms, but 2008, it's like not
Sick.
that far
Yeah.
from now, 2000, like
Yeah.
7, 6, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's not, doesn't seem like that far in the past, but incredibly different.
True.
Also, I
But
feel like my hair has just gotten better looking as recording has gone on. I'm very
Congrats for
happy
you.
with
Okay.
this.
We have my trivia questions.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think they're pretty easy. And I
Okay.
did them from memory.
Do you want to go back
I
and
did.
forth
Okay.
and see how we do?
Okay.
Yeah, we
Olivia,
could try that.
Okay, Olivia. What's the name on the fake ID that Brooke gives to Haley? Either the name or what it stood for. It was like it sounded like something. If you
Something.
Yeah.
It's for Tutor Girl, but
Yeah.
I don't remember
I think it was Trudy Grill or something.
Trudy Girl. Okay.
Okay. Angela, who came and made breakfast at the cabin and Rachel's cabin that no one expected would show up?
Pete Wentz from Fallout Boy.
Yes. He was the one who married Ashley Simpson, right?
Yes.
Okay, this was easy. What was the name of Lucas's books? Which I also didn't know that this was like a thing. I didn't know where the name came from until my second time through. I skipped that scene. The name of Lucas's first book. I thought this would be an easy one. That's why I gave it to you.
Ravens.
Oh,
But
it's whatever like the flock of ravens are called.
Correct. I thought this would be an easy one. I skipped the harder one. I thought this would be an easy one.
I'm answering it. Wait. I don't know, something of ravens.
Yeah,
It's a
the name of the book.
confluence.
I'm sorry.
A coincidence. It's a really.
Does it start with a C?
No.
Damn it.
Can we know what letter it starts with?
Oh my god, they like open the show with it too. It's like it's a murder of crows and a something of this and a blank of ravens.
Isn't that what the show was supposed to be called?
The show's just wow. The show is
just ravens.
Okay.
Okay.
You can be You can be nice. You can be
mean.
A kindness of ravens.
You're close, but flip it.
A cruelness.
An unkindness of ravens.
Oh.
Unkindness.
Isn't that what it is? Because it's not a kindness of
it might be an unkindness. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
I did not do well on that question, and it was an easy one.
I thought that would be one of the easier ones. So now I'm gonna like skip.
No,
one of the
we
other
got
ones.
this. We got this.
Well, it's an episode. It's season 8. I think you both. I don't think either of you watched the episode.
What episode? Maybe.
Let's try it.
What acronym does Jamie come up with to help Nathan study?
Oh my god, I did see this. It's for the No, I didn't.
T-Rex.
I saw the one where he's helping him
I don't know.
with the spelling bee.
Yeah. No,
Chester.
This is a different episode. Chester is the name of the bunny, who Angela is so attuned to realizing they switched out in some episodes.
Yeah,
switched actors.
They recast Chester.
Okay, wait. Well, in terms of here, Angela, how do you say bunny rabbit in Latin?
Auriculus caniculus.
Better than I would have gone. Yes.
Auriculus something like that.
Wait, that's the answer?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like when the fortune teller comes and like tells them there's like
you're not alone in the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw this scene. What was Julian's sleeping bag made out of when they went camping?
Lambskin.
Good job. Oh, okay, maybe. Okay, what did Sam call Evan Peters' character? I said this already, but Evan Peters' character's name. I
Jack
said this like
Daniels?
10. Yeah, like I said this like 10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, but like
Oh
that's his name. Like I thought it was
no,
like a
his name is
nickname or
Jack, but like
something.
his name is Jack, but like the Jack Daniels part was like a joke.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what?
Okay.
How? Okay, how does Mouth sign off in Omaha? This is season
Blah
6.
blah blah blah. Uh, you've heard of.
Good job.
Good job. I did not know that
I was
or any of
actually
these.
like originally gonna try to do like my 5 minute like this is everything that happens in One Tree Hill and like do it like really fast and be
Wow,
like my name is Angela and this has been a mouthful, but I
very
didn't get to
nice.
it because I didn't finish.
Okay. What did Peyton write on Brooke's prom dress?
Whore.
Good job. Do you remember what bonus question? Do you remember what Brooke said when she saw that horror was written on her prom dress? I
Or
don't.
it was something like that. Like she cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was like
And
she
then,
like yeah. Okay, sorry. Next one's yours,
yeah.
Olivia. Go.
Oh
Oh, okay. Well,
no,
go
no,
here.
you're doing such a great job.
No. There's only one more, which is name in sequential order. Name the top 3 moments of Whitey's life, which we barely covered. Whitey is the basketball coach, the very
Oh.
nice old white bald man who, in other contexts, could be creepy. And I wish like we saw all old men as Whitey instead of like Dan Scott pervert
I
creepy
love
men.
Whitey.
Yeah,
He always
Same.
has something nice, like very
yeah.
knowledgeable to say. Good advice.
Exactly, but they were talking about the thing where like Peyton and Whitey were like at the grave, and they're like, "This is not okay. Like a basketball coach and like a cheerleader like is not okay, and it's kind of creepy." But it's like if all men were like Whitey, we could totally do this. Like some old white men are really nice and like deserve the Whitey treatment. Most do not, and they have to prove themselves to be a Whitey. But like we all know, like when I just rewatched the episode where Mouth like visits his grandpa who has Alzheimer's, and they go karting with Peyton after the boy draft. Like some old men are really nice.
Yeah.
But yes, Angela, top 3 moments in Whitey's life. Olivia, you can help guess if you
Well,
need.
I think one of them is like the state championship,
Yes,
winning
that's
the
the
state
second.
championship.
Yeah.
Okay,
State
yeah, that's the
championship.
second.
Meeting
Oh, it's like
Camilla.
Mm-hmm.
those are the first two?
Yeah. Yes. The third one I will tell you also has to do with basketball.
Is it
Isn't it like 500 wins or some shit?
No,
is
Mm.
it when he
that was
retires? Or
no,
oh, when Nathan learns something from the game.
no. It's in the episode where Lucas proposes to Peyton, where we see the time jump or the flashback.
When Lucas becomes the coach?
No,
I didn't watch that episode recently.
No. Cuz I remember it's like they win,
they win the state
he
championship.
retires.
Isn't it like on his list?
No, that's a
Isn't
different list. That was a different list of I think 500 wins, like impact someone's life and something else. This was a different list.
Okay.
It's what happens before Lucas decides he needs to fly to LA to propose to Peyton. Is what happens at the very beginning of this episode during the flashback. Lindsay's looking at a picture and was like, I haven't seen you this happy in years. And then it goes into the flashback.
They're at the game. Nathan makes the winning shot. They win. Stuff.
But what
like,
game?
The championship.
did they win March Madness?
No. So first one is when he meets Camilla. Second one is the high school state championship. The third one is when he retires with Nathan's community college team's championship after getting them back. And that's when Peyton sends Lucas the song and Lucas flies to LA to propose. And
Okay.
he takes that as a no, even though she didn't say no.
Wait, so like
Got
why
it.
is that like the top like third moment in Whitey's life?
Because I think he like officially retires after that. And he let Lucas like do the last play. So it's like I think he's like finally like wrapping up his time with basketball.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
Shout-
skip any questions? That was it?
That was it.
Okay.
You did very well. Angela did much better than I thought she would.
She did better than me.
Angela, any final thoughts? Any lyrics you would like to sing for us?
I'm gonna pass on that one today.
We'll record it when we're all together at Outside Lands. You can practice now.
If
There we go.
only Gavin DeGraw was coming to Outside Lands.
Oh my god.
We're going to petition for him in 2023.
Exactly.
There you go. Revamp
Angela,
his
did you
career.
submit the answers for me to get to meet them? Did you
I
remember
did.
to submit?
Yes.
Did they contact you?
No.
Did you email it or did you Instagram
I emailed it.
Okay.
Did you check back for another email?
I haven't gotten an email back. I only got DM'd about it.
Yeah, I think I only got DM'd about it as well. But I did both. I emailed
Yeah.
and DM'd.
Oh, of course.
Because I want to win.
I don't see anything.
Do you, Olivia? Do you? Are you competitive? What? Can't see that.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I can't wait to finish the series and like do it and like start my rewatch because I think definitely I really liked high school.
Are you going to listen to the podcast? I
Yeah.
feel
You
like
should. You need to rewatch it
Okay,
with the
good.
podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It's
start
so
my rewatch
good.
with the podcast.
The podcast is like one of the things that made me like really like appreciate the show a lot more, and it's like love the women and who they are. So like some of the more like questionable things about like their characters make it easier. Also, speaking of the multiverse, Rachel is also married to like the main guy in Supernatural. So like they both did
Sam
like
or
other teen
Dean?
dramas too. I always get confused because Dean from Gilmore Girls is also Dean is on the show. The one
So
who's
it's
not
not
Jared
Jared
Padalecki.
Padalecki.
The one who's not Jared Padalecki.
Got it.
Correct. That's my distinction. The one who's not Jared Padalecki.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Well, Olivia, thank you for my newest obsession. Angela will still be hearing about it for the next, I don't know, everyone in my life. Maybe I'll calm down after now. I don't know. Because
Well,
now
the podcast is going for years, so I feel like it's just an excuse to talk about it for longer.
I know.
And I love their dynamic so much. When one of them is missing from an episode, it just doesn't feel the same.
Yes, but it's fine because they were all at Sophia Bush's wedding in real life. And like Sophia Bush had a very like intimate, I mean, granted it's huge, but like a very intimate wedding in like out of state. So like if they really didn't like the girls, like Sophia had no reason to have to invite them, which to me shows that they're very actually good friends because like I don't see Sophia Bush doing it for PR.
Weren't they also all at Peyton's wedding or Hillary's wedding? Did you know? And I'm going to take this from Hillary. She literally had a tattoo artist at their wedding. And I love that so much.
Oh yeah, cool. That's a pretty okay, I don't know. Like not like I don't know even personally, but like I feel like that's a pretty common thing I've seen like online on Pinterest on things.
I see it more now, yeah.
But I wonder how much that costs. Because like do the guests
Well, you pay by the hour. So they'll usually, you know how like you have like flash tattoos? So they already picked for you, so you can pick from the ones that are an option.
Yeah.
And then they just have like an hourly fee, and then your guests would just tip them. And then I think you would tip them as well.
Oh.
I looked into it a little bit.
I'm sure.
Okay, wait, if you had to like pick flash tattoos for a wedding, what would they be?
Well, I'm like, watch Olivia pay for the service and only be like tattoos she would like. So after her reception, it would just be Olivia sitting there and everyone like giving her like drinks. Because like Olivia would just take them all the time. It'd be like a cheaper way for Olivia to just get more tattoos.
But I would want my friends to get them too. I don't know. I think you pick something symbolic of like.
Oh my god! If you had to get a tattoo,
your last name, I don't even know.
If you had to get a tattoo inspired by One Tree Hill or its actresses, what would you get?
23.
As a tramp stamp?
Exactly.
Oh my god. Ew.
I actually think if I would get anything, it would be
the Shakespeare quote. There's a tide in the affairs of men. Just
oh my god. No, if I could find some way to do like Karen's Cafe, that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
I don't want Karen anywhere on my body though. That's just I feel like that's in 2022. That's a bad.
I know, right?
I don't know what I would get. I want to think about it. I also want to do some fan art for them. So, any ideas, and I'll try and
just make them all kiss.
3-way kiss. Oh God.
Is someone breaking into your house, Angela?
No. Warning.
Sounds like keys.
Would be good.
Were you in the middle of podcast?
I still.
Angela cutting us out. How rude.
That's okay.
Oh my god. Just like the key. I heard the keys jiggling, and I'm like, Angela, like, there's only one person who should be entering Angela's apartment who she knows. So I don't know what gives.
All right, sign us out. Oh,
Your
right,
turn.
that's me. And on that note, thank you for listening to this episode of In Omnia Paratus. Grab your coffee bowls and don't forget to rate, download, and follow on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. As always, where you lead, we'll follow. So head on over to @InOmniaPod on Instagram and let us know what you'd like to hear about in the comments. And no need to DM further because I am safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.